Chapter 195, Chapter 195, Various Feelings. Just as Shijun arrived and saw the hand imprint on the ground, she didn't manage to yell as the world came to an end. Haoh opened her eyes wide open as she felt her whole body instantly losing her powers but still remaining on the air with her hand extended out. Haoh, ths. I can't move. Haoh, my powers? She tried again and finally realized that it's not that her powers disappeared but she couldn't access them. It was like a seal was placed on her and couldn't fight back at all. The only thing she could do was talk and move her eyes slowly left and right, she couldn't move even her head. It was like someone trapped her in the space she currently occupied. Haoh, this is impossible. Not even the gods. Haoh, oh. They are weak. Haoh, not even Bakared could do this. With the vision she had now, she focused her gaze downwards and tried to see deep into the hole she opened up and buried him alive. Her only clue right now was to wait for Haoh to come up, but what if he doesn't get up? Did she evaporated him? A look of panic started emerging within her eyes, although she herself didn't realize it. He had told her that he needs to die to enter into a world of silence, and right now everything around her is a form of the world she wanted. But she was trapped. 10 minutes, 20 minutes. An hour. The look in her eyes became more apparent, and now she herself could realize that she was in a state of panic and maybe afraid. However, as soon as this thought crossed her mind, she was stunned. She was afraid? She who was born from nothingness and live in the boundless loneliness void? She immediately denied it, and started using every willpower a dragon has to move the whole space around her and break her shackles. But alas, as she was unable to tap her powers. It was futile. She only managed to make her eyes red and didn't know if it was because something robbed her freedom or of anger. 1 hour and 30 minutes passed, and now she looked deeply in the hole as she murmured to herself. Haoh, can it be that guy cheated me? Haoh, he sure had the courage to lie in my face. Surprisingly enough, she didn't notice that even though she stayed like that for 90 minutes, she spoke more words than every other time. It was also then when she heard rumbling sounds coming from below and light could be seen in her eyes. Slowly but slowly crawling sounds were heard from the hole, and after 10 minutes, a hand rose up and grabbed the cement in the roads as he finally returned to the surface. Haoh, Haoh, Haoh. Hey. Damn. I didn't expect to completely become meat paste. Haoh, it took so long and so much magic from the girls to heal. Haoh, HMNNN? Oh, Shijun. Haoh, oi. Haoh went and saw the frozen Shijun staring at the hole and finally remembered that only those bound in his gear could walk freely inside the frozen space. He then looked upwards and saw Haoh standing there, or more precise, locked in place. Haoh, so, did you like this eerie silence? Haoh, no. Haoh, I can't move at all. Haoh, well, no worries, this is something my gear caused upon my death and it lasts until my revival. Haoh, thankful you didn't evaporate me. Haoh, I have never seen a gear capable of sealing gods. Haoh, anyway, since you killed me, my gear activated and placed a mark on you. Haoh, mark? On me? Haoh had told the system to bind her when he told her now, as her confusion and curiosity was piqued before he could explain more, though a notification appeared causing his consciousness to black out. Chapter 196, Chapter 196, Balance Break. DxD, Hidden Quest completed. Bind one of the strongest genderless dragons. Repeatable, rewards, 200.000 pervert points, double stats up. DxD, congratulations host for completing the Phase 1 of Hikari to Yami number 32 no Hashira, 32 Pillars of Light and Darkness. DxD, all pillars are to be expelled. Just as Haoh fainted on the ground, Haoh finally regained her mobility as she slowly fell from the sky and landed on the ground before she saw countless white and dark lights getting expelled from his body. When those lights fell on the ground, they turned into figures. Haoh was speechless, Everything that happened today was beyond what she could think in her entire life. Even if she did think of this outcome before even coming to this place, or more specifically to where she had sensed her powers, she was too lazy to go through all that trouble. She loved peace and silence, not messing with others. How should she know that Haoh was the epitome of messing around? Everything he did was throwing her off the little sense she had. The girls, on the other hand, were looking around to see what the fuck had happened. Kateria, Ingvild, Middelt, Kala Warner, Zenobia, Irina, Ross Weiss, Rainare, Gabriel, Konako, and Akeno were looking at him, who was down for the count. They looked around and saw that Grafia, Rias, Sana, and Sira Fall was missing, as they had their own tasks to take care of. Kateria, what happened? Ingvild, where were we right now? All I could see was an endless sea and flying dragons. Rainare, Haoh. Rainare took some time to adjust herself to the outside world. After all, she was inside her space for so long. When she saw him down, she panicked before running and hugging him, feeling his pulse, that he was alive. She was practicing for close to a month in there, and there wasn't even a single time she stopped thinking about how she can help him. Middelt and Kala Warner had taken a big hit when they finally focused on her. Earlier they were also puzzled as to why they got expelled and failed to notice that the folded two wings of Rainare had more mass. But now that they paid close attention to her, they realized it was actually 4 wings. As everyone had realized that it wasn't something dangerous but still have their doubts as Haoh was down motionless, they all heard a mechanical voice through their mark. DxD, activating balance breaker. Boom! The space trembled around them and started expanding at an alarming rate. From 400 meters it started expanding and freezing everything it passed through. 450 meters. 500 meters. 600 meters. 650 meters. 750 meters. 900 meters. 1000 meters. When the 1000 meters domain was expanded with Haoh on the middle of it, they heard another mechanical voice. DxD, balance breaker, multi-pillars cosmos. The body of Haoh started glowing with a white and dark luster as it pushed away Rainare and started floating on the air before he opened his eyes, and one was completely white while the other completely black. Then from his chest, his black tattoo-shaped heart showing small dots symbolizing the spaces along with a green ancient circle along with white and black symbols, light up in 16 two-colored flames. Then those flames gathered symmetrical in the center of his tattoo, revealing another space dot, and that dot burst in green flames along with his green tattoo. As they watched the whole show, they heard a burst of laughter coming from the body of Haoh. Carrie, ha 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 ha, he did it. He connected all the different spaces. This means now if he wants he can set free those belonging to the pillars or switch members of the two. Everyone knew about Drake and they didn't pay attention to him/her but more to the words that were heard, making their position feel insecure. Chapter 197, Chapter 197, Balance Break. 2. As the girls on the outside world heard Drake/Carrie speaking about his gear capabilities in Balance Breaker, Haoh suddenly opened his eyes and found himself in front of a girl in her late teens of average height, with fair skin, green eyes, and dark red burgundy hair appeared before him. Her hair stopped growing at shoulder length with the addition of elbow-length bangs that frame both sides of her face. He immediately recognized her and got up as he looked around. Haoh, Carrie, why I am here? Carrie, don't you remember? Haoh, I remember talking to Office, and then I got a notification before everything turned to darkness. DxD, host has achieved balance breaker on Hikari to Yami number 32 no Hashira, 32 pillars of light and darkness. Haoh, I see, that's why I see those twisting like funnels around us. Carrie, yep. Carrie, originally this place was the middle core of your gear before fusing with the boosted gear. Carrie, after you did, it became my world and at the same time not my world. Haoh, I see. Haoh, then why am I here? Didn't I finish the activation? Carrie, you did. Carrie, but now you have to activate this space or the cores of this space balance breaker. Haoh, like we had said in the past, that to activate boosted gears balance breaker I need to first complete this one and have even the pillars. Ho, this was to ensure the best results, right? Ho, so what are we waiting for? Carry, that would be you. Carry, you need to choose a part of your body to transform into that of a dragon's part. Ho, oh then I already had a part of my body that I wanted to change. Carry, what? Ho, it is my heart. DxD, underscore. Carry, underscore. Ho, what? What? Carry, for a second there I thought you would say, XXX. Ho, nat. Although it's tempting, that wouldn't help me become more sturdy in bed. Ho, but if I can turn my heart into dragon's heart the blood will slowly refine my body raising my stats higher slowly till my old blood and impurities get expelled. Carry, I see. Ho, besides. Who said that the new blood won't mutate my dick making it larger than its current length? Carry, underscore. DxD, underscore. Ho, see I have everything under control. Carry, sigh. Then your heart is it? Ho, yes. As he agreed to it with resolution in his eyes that knows no bound, suddenly he felt pain in his chest as Carry pierced his heart and plucked it out. Ho was speechless and opened his eyes wide open before he saw that Carry cut her hand with her nails and a few drops of blood fell on his chest where his missing heart was. Although he didn't die as he was only a soul and his system would protect him, the pain was unbearable and felt like he was wronged. She should have at least told him about the level of pain he would experience in the process. Soon he felt his whole body burning up and become unbearable hot making him unable to speak a single word. His eyes turned white as they rolled back and started spasming while Carry watched him. After a few minutes, Ho started breathing heavily and no hole could be seen in his soul body. As the whole process started in the outside world, the girls heard a ripping sound and suddenly his chest opened startling them and causing even off eyes to narrow her eyes. They then saw his body started becoming completely red as if lava was flowing through his veins and slowly the hole started closing while it was steaming. As time passed they saw his skin returning to the normal color making them sigh their reliefs. Chapter 198, Chapter 198, Balance Break. 3. As the whole procedure ended and while Ho panted inside the space with Carry looking at him, Ho suddenly got dozens of notifications. DxD, host stats have been refined. DxD, congratulations host for completing the phase 1 of boosted gear. DxD, balance breaker, pillars armor. DxD, host has gained a new command union pillars. DxD, host now can use J pillar drive. Ho, Ho, what's this? Carry, do you know what's different? Ho, no. Carry, sigh. Carry, back then when you fused the two gears the system had told you that the boosted gears balance breaker was slightly different, correct? Ho, yes I do remember that. Carry, later on you had asked me if you could awaken the gear by transforming a part of your body or some other way. Carry, and I told you to wait to complete the first gear's balance breaker. Ho, yet I do remember what's all this about? Carry, the thing is that the appearance of the boosted gears balance breaker is as you know it a humanoid dragon. Carry, in order for you to fight in that armor you need a light and darkness pillar. Ho, wait, you mean? Carry, it's what you think. Carry, the moment you enter balance breaker you need to have in the customized spaces one light and one dark pillar. Carry, the more you have the stronger you will be. Carry, after you reach 8 pillars each, then you can enter J pillar drive. Ho, let me guess each time I union pillars with a set, the strain on my body will be enormous. Ho, therefore I have to slowly get used to it until I can handle all 8 sets. Ho, therefore later I can enter the J pillar drive. Ho, my guess is that I can enter now as well but it will result in my death, correct? And not just my death. Carry, yes. Carry, from there you will have a few problems. A carry, 2 problems to be exact. Ho, let me guess. 1. If I have more darkness pillars after the 8 sets, I will quickly start entering a berserk state. Ho, 2. If I have more light pillars after the 8 sets. What will happen? A carry, if you have more darkness you will get dragged down by the previous souls of the boosted gear and go berserk. A carry, if you have more light you will not be able to use your pillars' powers and therefore fight on your own. Ho, wait, I can use their powers? Freely? A carry, yes, when you perform a union pillars the people you select will have to enter inside their spaces. A carry, that in your pillar armor will enable you to directly use boost on yourself and transfer on their abilities freely. Ho, holy moly. Sh. It. A carry, yeah, I know both your gears supplement each other and you have become a cheat among cheats. A carry, also for some reason, the other gear will be in constantly balance breaker mode. A carry, I don't know how but it somehow counts as a permanent one. A carry, not to mention that your other gear still has a hidden feature to unlock as the system told you when it evolved. Ho, fuck. Ho, my stats doubled when I bound off eyes. Ho, now I'm literally a cheat. Ho, who can stop me in balance breaker now that I have off eyes? Ho, maybe I can beat the ass of Bakared. Ho, let's see my stats. DxD, showing stats. Name, Haoh Yorion. Age, 15, 25. Health, 5.184.000. Magic, 5.184.000. Power, 151.040 171.817, refined 10%. Speed, 157.056 171.817, refined 10%. Defense, 207.360 171.817, refined 10%. Sacred Gear, Hikari Toyami No. 32 no Hashira, 32 Pillars of Light and Darkness. Balance Breaker, Multi-Pillar Cosmos. Sacred Gear, Boosted Gear. Balance Breaker, Pillar Armor. Juggernaut Pillar Drive. Money, 14.600 cash/pervert points, 250.000. Chapter 199, Chapter 199, Retell. Ho, refined? Ho, and why is my defense down? Ho, is it because of my heart? And the dragon blood pumping in my body? Ho, then how strong will my body be when it reached 100%? Ho, from what I could see all 3 stats truly got 10% upgrade or downgrade. Ho, then each refinement from now on will be around 17.000 to 18.000. Ho, however that's an estimation based on the percentage and if the stats raised through quests. Ho, oh well, usually the saying goes you have to sacrifice something to gain something. Ho, I guess it counts here as well. Snapping from his thoughts he saw A carry looking at him and both of them as if seeing each other thoughts sighed. A carry, really a cheat? Ho, you can't blame me. Ho, anyway, time to go back. As he said that he vanished from the inside space of his gear and finally saw the outside world. To be more precise his gaze fell on the girls who looked worriedly for him. Ho, yo. Miss me? Rainare, you. What the hell was all that? Ho, that? Zenobia started explaining what they saw from the moment they left the space inside and his condition which shocked him as he didn't know it will reflect his physical body. But then again he traded his heart so of course, his body needs to bear the impact. Ho. First I awakened the balance breaker of the pillars and this was why you were ejected. Ho, second I awakened the balance breaker of the boosted gear by making my heart into that of a dragon's. Ho, off eyes there should be able to sense it. Off eyes, You got stronger by at least 10 times. Ho, nah, my body hasn't reformed yet and at most, I become twice. Ho, if you add the balance breaker of boosted gear then it's difficult to say how much as I don't know how long my body will keep up. Kateria, what do you mean? Since everyone here was his girls with the exception of Office, but as long as he could punch Bakared once he was sure he could drag her to his bed. He started explaining from scratch all the powers his gears have. Bind those that kill him into darkness pillars and those that agree to become his as light pillars. The usage of the spaces and their alteration to match their desire. How boosted gear worked by boosting them. Up to this point Office, who was surprisingly paying attention, realized how he didn't get boosts when they fought. He then stated his balance breaker of the pillars, which now had a few effects, making a few of them to panic, especially Rainiere. The 17th space was unlocked and they could meet up there, but they should take note of Drag/A carry. He now had the rights to free someone under his control or switch between the pillars and also bind 16 more people. If that wasn't enough to shock them, and even if they were, his next explanation about how his boosted gear worked made their minds explode and look at him in a daze. At the same time, Office's eyes seemed as if they glittered with an unknown light. But when they heard what will happen if he has uneven pillars after he absorbed his 8 sets in his balance breaker, they took a deep breath. Ingvild, a cheat. Irina, I agree. Konako, a pervert. As everyone was about to speak their thoughts, they turned to Konako, who shrugged before explaining that now the most important thing is he can bind 16 more girls. This caused everyone to look at him as a lecher. Chapter 200, Chapter 200, The Crack. Ho, everyone knows I am, so what's the point of pointing this? Ho, in any case, will all of you go for training? As he spoke for several seconds they looked at him with half-dead eyes, but then they all sighed as they pondered over his words. Middlet and Kala Warner, watching Rainiere's progress, immediately agreed to go for training as they didn't want to be left behind. Irina and Zenobia also wanted to go for training as they also refused to fall behind the others. Ross Weiss, after pondering for a bit and with the pace Ho progress, it would seem that her limit also raised and decided to use this chance to power up. After snapping his fingers, the 5 of them vanished, for their leaving Konako and Akeno refused for now as they both wanted to help Rias, and also Konako wanted to see her sister. Kateria and Ingvild looked at each other, and even though they wanted to go for training they dropped the idea as they first had a few things to settle. Gabriel left her decision to Ho, while Rainiere wanted to stay a bit with him as it was a month since they didn't see each other. Right now, he had in his gear 3 darkness pillars and 2 light for training purposes in their customized environment. He had a feeling though that if he gets to fight with someone and needs to enter his balance break right now, his body can only handle 1 set of pillars. As to why he thought of that, well, it was mostly a feeling, his instinct. He looked towards Akeno, Konako, Gabriel, Kateria, and Ingvild, and then in the frozen-like state that was still around them. His gaze then fell on Shijun, who was like a statue there with a worrying look, before his gaze finally turned to Office. Ho, how is it? I see you can move. Office, I don't like. Ho, mmmn. You don't like being bound like that? Office, Ho, hat, too bad for you then. Just as he spoke, the time for the space to be in a frozen state ended, reverting in a normal state. Shijun, who was frozen, could now move and was shocked to see so many people in front of her without even realizing it. Her mind blanked for a bit before she sorted out possible scenarios and finally found the most optical solution that fitted her logic. Shijun, you died? Ho, yep. And I have good news. Shijun, what news? Ho, now I can add you as light pillar. Shijun, really? Her worries that something worse might have happened with his death went out of the window when she heard that and almost jumped from her happiness. Ho, sure, you only have to accept. Shijun, I do. I do accept. The moment Ho heard her words, his system notified him that she was added under the light pillars, but unfortunately he didn't get any hidden quest completed. He didn't know why though. Doesn't she have one of 4 fiends? But as he thought of that, his system answered for him and cleared his doubt. DxD, host's power, is able to rival those of gods and even surpass them if use the infinite of office, though host's body can't handle it. DxD, host's hidden quests have changed towards those of gods. Before he tried to clarify things as he kinda got the meaning behind this answer, suddenly the whole space started trembling and up in the sky, solid cracks appeared. The cracks started bulking as if something wanted to pierce through it, and soon it did just that as a sound of glass shattering resounded around. Everyone's eyes popped from their heads as they saw a massive red western dragon with a horn on his snout and has 2 sets of wings. Chapter 201, Chapter 201, The Greatest Lineup. As everyone watched his overall length growing and measured around 100 meters. The dragon let out a roar shaking every powerhouse hidden in the world, be it mortals, devils, angels, and fallen, including gods themselves. In many distant places from where the huge dragon appeared, countless figures got up as they vanished instantly, leaving behind their tasks, shocking many who served under them. In the place where Haoh was with the rest, one after the other magic circles flared up, showing more than 60 covering a large area before their figures became visible. Haoh watched as those figures appeared around, and with each passing second his face changed into countless colors and expressions as he recognized most of them. If he were to say how many factions appeared, the total would be 10 different factions appeared. First and foremost in the lineup was a familiar person, and that was Michael. On the second lineup, it was another familiar person, the one and only god in history of losing his wee-wee. Then the third row of people appeared with surprisingly another familiar person, but this time Haoh remembered him because he was shown in the anime. It was a man with a buzzcut hairstyle with greenish-brown hair color and lavender eyes. He wears circular sunglasses, an aloha shirt, and has a jewel around his neck when in his leisure. He recognized him as he was Indra. Both behind Odin and Indra lined up a few other people, and thanks to their affiliation as gods, Haoh knew them and could recognize a few. Such as Freyr, Loki, Thor, Vita, Freya, Baldur, Gna, Fulla, Hlin, Frigg. Along with Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Parvati, Ganesha, Murugan, Hanuman. Then the fourth group appeared, and he would be bling if he couldn't recognize them. They were the most popular in stories gods he had read in the past. Not only that, but with their clothes and their weapons it was easy to figure their origins. Zeus, Poseidon, Apollon, Artemis, Hermes, Hera, Athena, Demeter, Hestia, Aphrodite, Hephaestus, Erebus, and someone he always wanted to meet up close. He had read too many novels that mentioned her and always fantasized to have her under his legs. It was the goddess Nyx. She is a beautiful young woman with the cute face of a child that has long black hair and with pointy ears. She wears a cute frilly dress that has a corset jumper skirt. However, when the fifth group appeared, he exclaimed as he recognized all of them and even bowed down to them. They were the gods of every Japanese anime otaku grew up with. Or to be more precise, they were the gods that given many references to abilities. Amaterasu, Saruta Haiko, Aim no Uzume, Inari, Izanagi, Izanami, Suzanu, Tsukuyomi. The girls and even the people that had appeared saw this and got confused, while a few gods got pissed while others praised his boldness. Continue on with the sixth group. He recognized no one. Every single one of them were foreign in his eyes. It was the same for the seventh group, although there was one goddess that seemed familiar to him and his group he couldn't put his thoughts into her name. When the eighth group appeared, even an idiot would realize from where they came from. He recognized them with a single glance as he used to play Age of Mythology and Titan Quest learning about Egyptian gods. When the ninth group made an appearance once again, Haoh recognized only one person, the one and only Sun Wukong, but didn't recognize else anyone behind him. Finally, one more light flashed and the 10th group appeared, or was supposed to be a group, but all they saw was one person. The gathering started with one person and ended with one. How did this happen? No matter. Now I can step us my game and pluck beautiful goddesses. Chapter 202, Chapter 202, Goddesses Everywhere. Haoh looked at the goddesses with an appreciation for their sexy bodies while ignoring many others as they looked at the situation at hand. He even ignored the Great Red coming out of the crack in space. Before the key figures started talking and figure out why both Offeyes and Great Red was here, Haoh had magically vanished from his spot. He instantly appeared in front of a goddess, shocking many at his absurd speed. "Haoh, hello beautiful. Will the beautiful sun goddess comply to return what you have stolen from me?" Shock and disbelief flashed in many gods and goddesses' eyes, along with various killing intents that were completely ignored by Haoh. Amaterasu's physical appearance is that of a fit, beautiful young woman around Irina's age, and long black hair with large breasts. Her hair is in a ponytail tied in a red bow at the bottom to prevent it from freely moving. She wears the standard clothes of a Miko, a Japanese priestess. "Amaterasu, what have I stolen from you?" "Haoh, a piece of my heart." "Haoh, if I can't have that back, I'm afraid I will have to start negotiations." "Amaterasu, assuming I do have such a piece, what kind of negotiations will make me give it back?" "Haoh, how about we start the negotiations by going out for a drink, something to eat, see a movie?" Amaterasu started giggling why everyone wanted to kill this bastard for flirting in their presence, and almost exploded when Amaterasu spoke up. "Amaterasu, sure, I don't mind." "Amaterasu, however, why a piece? And not your full heart?" "Haoh, MNN? Oh, it's because I'm faithfully yet not faithful to one girl." "Amaterasu, so a harem is it?" "Haoh, pretty much." "Amaterasu, so who else here stole a piece of your heart?" "Haoh, Tsukuyomi, Izanami, Inari, Athena, Nyx, Artemis, Hestia, Aphrodite, Chang'e, Saraswati, Bastet, Hathor, Isis, Nephthys, Ma'at, Shit, Sikamet." Haoh continues adding goddesses, shocking many and bursting out with killing intent, while the girls in question started laughing. "Haoh, Epona, Morrigan, Minerva, Venus, Diana, Vesta, Salacia, Tia, Terra, Heratai." "Amaterasu, you done?" "Haoh, I don't know other goddesses." "Amaterasu, I'm surprised. You even have picked Morrigan in the names you said." "Haoh, how so?" "Amaterasu, Morrigan also knows as the mysterious goddess of fate." "Amaterasu, she is literally an enigma." "Haoh, oh that. I know. That's what makes it exciting for me." "Haoh, isn't it know that girls are drawn to mysterious guys and vice versa?" "Haoh, what kind of man would I be if I backed off from a challenge?" Amaterasu was stunned, and so were all the gods and goddesses. Even though many bathed him in killing intent, they didn't forget to raise their thumbs inside their heads for his boldness. "Haoh, oh right, come to think of it, why did all of you appear all of a sudden?" Many choked on their saliva as they thought definitely not for you to flirt in front of us, and Odin came forward speaking up to dispel the awkwardness. "Odin, ha 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 ha, kid, I see you have grown since the last time we met." "Haoh, yep, I can now kick your ass without relying on my master." Gasps were heard from the gods and goddesses around them as they knew how strong Odin was, while Odin almost tripped as he was walking towards him. He could never tell them he lost that to his master. "Odin, I see, your wives increased. I hope you treat Ross Weiss well." "Haoh, and I hope someone doesn't, but through various means in my activities." Odin, cough, cough, cough. "Odin, surely you jest. Anyway, we have gathered here because..." However, Odin didn't manage to finish his words as the Great Red, who was ignored all this time, suddenly roared, making the space around them tremble, and finally everyone paid attention to him. Chapter 203, Chapter 203, The Great Red. All the gods and goddesses looked solemnly at the Great Red while Haoh was annoying by his voice. He picked up a metal bar from the rumbles that existed in the area, and as everyone wondered what was the purpose of it, they suddenly paled and scrambled a few thousand meters away from their current position, with only a selective few standing still. "Haoh, shut the fuck up." "Fush." Haoh threw the metal bar as it ripped through the air and fell on Great Red's lower jaw, making a 2 sound. This made the Great Red look at Haoh and snorted as it blinked its eyes and started glowing while his whole western-like body passed through the crack and started condensing. The female incarnation of Great Red has the appearance of an attractive woman. She appears to have the age of 25 years old, she has creamy skin and red hair, which is waist length. Her hair is somewhat less spiky and the fangs in her teeth are more visible. Her eyes have a bright golden color while her whole body is covered in a dress of red scales while her breasts threaten to rip through it but at the same time fit perfectly well. Everyone who saw her figure had the same thought on the head. Now I understand where the great comes from. Many gulped as lust overcame them only to be met with those golden menacing slit eyes of hers. Great Red, kid, what happened to off-eyes? Great Red, why do I feel her existence connected to you? Hearing the words of Great Red, the gods and goddesses were shocked once again. Today was the day their minds.exe crashed a lot of times. Haoh, and why should I tell you? Great Red narrowed her eyes as she looked at Haoh trying to see him through, however no matter how hard she tried she couldn't. Great Red, can you free her? Haoh, hell no. Instant rejection caused the Great Red to finally show some emotions on her face as her eyes started twitching while the spectators prayed for his bravery. However, the question remained who they prayed to, as everyone here were gods and goddesses. It took them a while to realize their blunder and made poker faces to hide their embarrassment. Haoh, she can only be freed if I'm killed, and that is something quite difficult to achieve. Haoh's words resounded to their ears and many snorted as they had already planned to kill him for trying to woo the goddesses of their faction. Great Red, good. Then I'm sure Hades will give me some face and resurrect you afterwards. Great Red raised her finger claws, ignoring everyone else and even Indra, who had a look of horror on his eyes and waved instantly at Haoh, who only felt a breeze before time stopped itself. Haoh, ga. Arg. Great Red, impossible. How? Disbelief appeared in her face as her golden eyes were wide open, watching the hole in Haoh's chest closing at rapid speed, while at the same time she could feel her movements been restricted. Haoh, ha 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 ha, I have to thank you. Haoh, I activated my balance breakers and then accepted Shijun as a light pillar, which would have caused me problems if a fight were to break out. Great Red, how? Haoh, am I still alive? Great Red didn't speak, but her eyes showed what she wanted to learn. But before Haoh could speak, Off-Eyes and the rest came towards him as they could move inside the frozen space, magnify the shock she was feeling. Off-Eyes' eyes were glittering as Great Red couldn't move, and Haoh saw this as he grinned. Chapter 204, Chapter 204, 9th Darkness Pillar. Haoh, see Off-Eyes, I didn't lie. Haoh, I said you will return to the silent place once you killed me. Haoh, now Great Red is here while no one resides in the dimensional gap. Off-Eyes' eyes brighten even more as she could now go to her home. Great Red, you tricked me to kill you and place me in this situation. Haoh, nope. I did say killing me was quite difficult, didn't I? Haoh, you should have chosen not to kill me, but you did kill me anyway. Great Red was speechless. True, he did say that, but she thought he was arrogant as his powers were ultimate class and neglect his warning. Haoh, now let me tell you both Off-Eyes and your fate. Great Red flinched as she saw everyone just looking and not doing anything, while Haoh went to Off-Eyes from behind and hugged her waist. Off-Eyes on the other hand had a confused expression as she didn't know why Haoh did that. She then felt his right hand going upwards from her waist while fondling her small boobs, while his other hand went down through her pants and entered inside as he was fondling her pussy. Everyone's minds shut down at that moment, while Off-Eyes had a blank look trying to comprehend what is going on. The girls who watched him gave him looks of disgust while Great Red roared, trying to move. Great Red, you! What the heck are you doing to the Ouroboros dragon? However, this time it was Haoh's turn to look at her and the girls, who had disgusted looks. Haoh, what you say? Haoh, are you that dense? Or are you angry because she looked like a 12 to 13 years old? Haoh, should I remind everyone here that Off-Eyes have an age similar to that of the birth of the world we are currently living? Haoh, as far as I'm concerned, she is not a little girl despite her appearance. Great Red, you! Haoh, Furthermore, as she killed me and became bound to my scared gear as a darkness pillar, I can do whatever I want with her body. Ho, plus as long as she returns to the dimensional gap, or am I to provide her a quiet place exactly the same as her home, she won't have anything to say. As he explained while fiddling her private, Ho inserted her finger inside her pussy, causing her to jolt slightly, while in an instant she was back to her usual confused or blank state. The Great Red blazed in anger as she was watching him playing with Afai's body, but soon a thought on their conversation popped up in her mind. Great Red, wait. Then as I killed you. Doesn't that mean? Ho, you are right. You have the same fate as Afai's been bound to me. Ho, ready to be eaten at a moment's notice. Ho wanted to say a bit more, but finally felt a tiny bit of ripples running through Afai's body and smiled inwardly, as it seems once her urges as a dragon to mate completely awakes he would have a lot of work to do. But for now, it would be quite troublesome, and stopped as he separated from Afai's body. Then, as if he wanted to end this and not wait till the time freeze ended on its own, he started explaining how his gear worked to Great Red and its potential he has unlocked so far. This made her face become gloomier and gloomier, while Afai's eyes brightened seeing her like this, and was lost in her own thoughts, unknown to many what she was thinking. After a few minutes, Ho willed the time to move forward, while for those that had retreated outside of his influence only a split second passed. What shocked them though was that Ho was fine and kicking, and someone his girls had teleported instantly to his side. Indra, however, was fear in his eyes. Chapter 205 Chapter 205, Ross Weiss's OP. DxD, Hidden Quest completed. Bind one of the strongest genderless dragons. Repeatable, rewards, 200.000 pervert points, double stats up. DxD, showing stats. Name, Haoh Yorion. Age, 16, 26. Health, 5.184.000 10.368.000. Magic, 5.184.000 10.368.000. Power, 171.817 greater than 343.634 greater than 360.815, refined 20%. Speed, 171.817 greater than 343.634 greater than 360.815, refined 20%. Defense, 171.817 greater than 343.634 greater than 360.815, refined 20%. Sacred Gear, Hikari Toyami No. 32 no Hashira, 32 Pillars of Light and Darkness. Balance Breaker, Multi-Pillar Cosmos. Sacred Gear, Boosted Gear. Balance Breaker, Pillar Armor. Darkness Pillar. 1. Rain-Array, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 4 Wings/MV 990.000. 2. Konako Tajao, Scale 2 Peak Nikomata/Devil, First Stage Sage/MV 990.000. 3. Middled, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 2 Wings/MV 490.000. 4. Kala Warner, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 2 Wings/MV 495.000. 5. Zenobia Quarta, Scale 3 Low Brave Saints/MV 160.000. 6. Kateria Leviathan, Scale 6 Low Muas/MV 5.050.000. 7. Ingvilt Leviathan, Scale 6 Low Muas/MV 5.300.000. 8. Afai's, Scale 9 Dragon God/MV Infinite. 9. Great Red, Scale 9 Dargon God/MV Infinite. Light Pillar. 1. Rias Gremory, Eris, Fiancé, Scale 4 Mid-High Class Devil/MV 1.450.000. 2. Sana Citrai, Eris, Fiancé, Scale 4 Mid-High Class Devil/MV 1.430.000. 3. Ross Weiss, 5th Stage Valkyrie /MV10.368.000. 4. Akenoheim Jima, Scale 2 Peak Devil /Fallen Angel /MV990.000. 5. Sierra Fall Leviathan, Scale 6 Lomua /MV6.200.000. 6. Graphia Lucifuge, Scale 6 Lomua /MV5.250.000. 7. Irina Shadu, Scale 3 Low Brave Saints /MV140.000. 8. Gabriel, Scale 6 Low 4 Great Seraphs /MV5.050.000. 9. Shijun Nanaderu, Scale 5 Peak Sage /MV1.000.000. Money, 14.600 Cash /Pervert Points, 450.000. What surprised Haoh was the fact that Shijun was treated as a sage since she is a human, Raineray's change in power. But what blew his mind was Ross Weiss. He knew that as a Valkyrie her powers become the same as the one she serves until she finds a new master. When he first bound her he had 81k of magic value but she had a default of 100k. Then it increased at 490k but from there his powers grew rapidly and kinda forgot about it. Now however it seems her magic value skyrocket while her Valkyrie stage changed as well based on his system. He would need to always remember never to let her drink as it would not end well for the rest of them. Not only that but it seems his body was refined for another 10% adding 17-18k in his stats from when he turned his heart into a dragon. And each refinement seems to add that amount to his stats. After a few moments, Haoh returned to reality and looked at Great Red who was still gloomy while everyone else were looking from a safe distance. Haoh, so is everyone here for a different reason than to see Great Red in her human form? Cough, cough. Many started coughing as they were snapped back to reality and looked at Haoh with fear as he survived somehow from a hit from Great Red. After waiting for a bit, no one came forward except for Odin who wanted to chat and surprisingly Amaterasu herself. Although a few others like Athena and Nyx showed interesting in him. All the goddesses that were mentioned before seemed as they wanted to escape from here which caused Haoh to smile wryly. Chapter 206, Chapter 206, Finally Me and the Girls. Haoh motioned at Great Red to show the way out of this drama that lasted quite long and did just that she simply teleported them away from the area. Only Odin remained and Amaterasu. Odin, ha 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 ha, you lucky bastard. Odin, do you know how much jealously you have gathered? Haoh, I know and don't care. Amaterasu, you are quite interesting. Amaterasu, how did you teleport everyone directly in front of you? Haoh, it was an ability of my sacred gear. Odin, I can't believe the sun goddess to be interested in someone. Amaterasu, I'm quite bored back at home always having to listen to prayers again and again. Amaterasu, or having to go to meetings where various gods start courting me with clear intentions in their eyes. Haoh, oh? And how do you know I don't have my own intentions? Amaterasu, you do have intentions. Amaterasu, the expansion of your harem and you have no qualms in targeting goddesses. Amaterasu, you state from the beginning what you want without trickery. Haoh, are you always that naive? Amaterasu, excuse me? Haoh, let's set our eyes on Kateria. Haoh, I made her enter the harem by taking advantage of the fact that she wanted to save Ingvild. Amaterasu, although I don't like taking advantage of someone that needs help, but did you not tell her that by entering you can help her? Haoh, I did. Amaterasu, then that's no trickery. That's striking a deal on both parties. There is a huge difference between the two. Amaterasu, these kinds of deals always exist but very few keep them till the end. Amaterasu, you could play it completely gentlemanly and try to flirt with me in order to enter my pants but that in the end would be trickery. Amaterasu, you have tricked me with your fake bravado just to fuck me and abandon me later. Amaterasu, most gods are like that when courting me. Amaterasu, fake and boring. Haoh was speechless. He wanted to refute with various examples, but he couldn't, as he had always explained at least to the light pillars what being in his harem will entail. So in the end it's a win-win situation. Odin, fuck. That's how I always left hanging when trying to bang goddesses. Odin, I never asked them up front. With the sudden exclaimed of Odin, everyone turned towards him and looked at him with deadpan eyes while he brushed it off while laughing as if he was enlightened. Haoh on the other hand murmured in a low voice that caused Odin, who heard it, shiver while Amaterasu laugh. Haoh, should I make his wee-wee disappear once again? Amaterasu, PFFTT. Odin, oh, right, I suddenly remember that I have a few things to arrange. Odin, have fun, kid. Haoh, if you can't find what you are searching for, come and find me, I'll try and help. Odin almost slipped and facepalmed himself on the ground while thinking, if I actually can't find it, it would be because you or your master did it before leaving, while everyone returned at the situation at hand. Haoh, continue on. When will you be free for that talk we? No, I negotiated about? Amaterasu looked around and smiled before saying. Amaterasu, don't you have to finish dating them before you can date me? Haoh, technically I have already eaten rice with all of them apart from Kateria, who we only cooked it. Haoh, Ingvild, Offis, and Great Red. Amaterasu, so after goddesses you are going for dragons? Haoh, actually it's the opposite, first eat the dragons and then go for goddesses. Haoh, as you had heard earlier, Offis was already connected to me. Amaterasu, I see. Well, then I'm leaving you on your own devices. Amaterasu, although I'm not the smartest person, I know when someone wants to set me up. Amaterasu, I'm quite excited about our negotiations and I believe you won't disappoint me. Chapter 207, Chapter 207, Returning to Home. Haoh, now then girls. Who wants to go for training? Haoh asked the girls that were in front of him with the exception of Rias, Sana, Graphia, and Sirafal. Kateria, Ingvild, Middelt, Kala Warner, Zenovia, Irina, Ross Weiss, Rainare, Gabriel, Konako, Akeno, Shijun, Great Red, and Offis looked at him. While Great Red was still sulking and Offis was in her thoughts, the rest looked at each other. Kateria, well, I have to keep the end of the bargain, so I'll stay behind. Ingvild, me too, I want to thank you for saving me. Middelt and Kala Warner, not wanting to fall behind Rainare, asked to go for training, and Rainare did the same as she wanted to be stronger. The gods and goddesses today gave her a powerless feeling that she urgently needed to cover up. Zenovia, Irina, and Gabriel also wanted to continue training, while Konako and Akeno asked to go and help Rias with her work before returning. Shijun clenched her fists together and was torn inside as she wanted to train and at the same time become stronger. Earlier when Haoh was flirting with Amaterasu and mentioning many names from various factions, her fiend sacred gear spirit picked up the killing intent, making her frown as there were more than 50 gods wanting him dead. In the end, after thinking hard and long, she decided to enter his sacred gear and train. This only left Offis and Great Red. Haoh snapped his finger, making those who are meant to go for training vanish from the sight of P and Great Red, who could no longer feel them. Shijun appeared inside his sacred gear as it started changing form for a suitable place for her to train along with her spirit. What finalized in front of her was a spiritual mountain that had various delicacies with different attributes, making her sacred gear jump up and down in delight. Shijun, I better get to work or else I'll be left behind. Shijun, Doughty. You have the best sense for herbs and treasures, find me a few that can make me stronger and keep the rest. Shijun, let's both grow up. Doughty wanted to retort when it heard that it had to find her food, thinking that it won't be able to eat all these cookies in his eyes, but got to work searching for herbs that are suitable for her when he heard it will eat everything here. It was running around happily thinking that this generation host of his was the best the annals of time could offer it. Meanwhile, Haoh looked at Kateria, Ingvild, Offis, and Great Red as they were the only ones left behind. Haoh, calling you Great Red won't cut it, so from today onwards your name will be Arayu. Haoh, so Arayu-chan, care to transport us back to my home? Great Red now knows as Araya frowned before taking a deep breath and concentrated in finding familiar places with the aura and scent of Haoh. However, then the frowning turns into confusion as she could feel and smell the area that was destroyed a few kilometers away from where they were matched with what Haoh would call home. Araya, are you sure you have a home to return to? Haoh, MMN? Yeah, why? Araya, because a few kilometers away from here where the rumbles begin, matches what you call having a home. Haoh froze and then remembered every ordeal that happened today and finally started cursing his luck. He now remembers that he doesn't have any home as Offai's punch at the beginning obliterated everything. He had plans on tasting Kateria, Ingvilt, Araya, and slowly corrupt Offai's by awakening her sexual urges, but now it turns out he is homeless. Chapter 208, Chapter 208, Homeless. After cursing for a while he was finally calmed down and tried to think about what to do. Then a sudden idea hit him and checked to see where his phone was only to find it in exactly 1,000 pieces in his pocket. He even wondered if he can reassemble all of it, will it work? Haoh, sigh. Withdraw. As it was only a few minutes that Rainare entered training, she suddenly felt being pulled out and look at Haoh, who was gloomy. Rainare, what happened? Haoh, can you contact Restaurant Cliffcun? Rainare, why don't you use your phone? Haoh showed her the puzzle, making her mouth open wide while also proceeding in telling her about their house which was obliterated, causing her to sigh. Rainare, so you are homeless? Haoh, not me. Us, US. Haoh, anyway contact the restaurant. Rainare sighed again before taking her phone out and dialed the number as he passed it to Haoh. Ring. 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 Cian, hello? Haoh, oh, great. My savior. Cian, this voice. Oh, you are that guy that leaves with those beauties. Haoh, hey mate, my house was meant with an accident and have no lodging to stay until everything gets repaired. Haoh, does Cliffcun knows connections to cheap rents apartments for rent at least a month or two? Cian, we do have delivery to such companies, but let me check something. As the phone was put on hold, a song started playing, making Haoh speechless. It was In the End of Linkin Park. After hearing it like 5 times in a row, making veins appear on his head as he even memorized the words. No, that was light. He even started singing it in his mind and slowly gave more tune to it. Cian, ah. Sorry mate. Well, I have the phones where you can call. Haoh, why in the end I suspect a huge but. Cian, I think you should listen to less music, it influences you in a bad way. Cian, however, as you said. There is a but. Cian, I have an alternative for you. Cian, turns out I will leave the town for the new restaurant in Tokyo tomorrow, therefore, my house will be freed for at least 4 to 5 months. Cian, you can make yourself at home even from today, as it is a triple floor house, so you can take the 3rd floor while I sleep on the couches for today. Haoh wanted at first to lash out at him, but this sudden turn of events was very favorable to him, as he doesn't know how long the constructions will take. Although he would contact Graphia and Sierra Fall to do the repairs with magic, Cian doesn't know that. Haoh, thank man. I owe you. Cian, no biggie. Want me to send you the menu you last ordered? Haoh, I have right now around 14k, so make as much as possible to that amount. Cian, deal. See you in half an hour in this coordination. Cian, I'll give you the keys then. As he hanged up and gave the phone to Rainare, he tried to snap his fingers and send her for training, only for her to look at him with a deadly glare. Rainare, I hope you ordered for my share as well, right? Haoh almost shit bricks behind his back and nodded as he smiled. Haoh, well then we found a house. Now we need to go there and have our food and night activities. Kateria and Rainare nodded while Ingvilt blushed. While Araya was frustrated as she kept trying to break free for his sacred gear with no veil, while Offais kept looking at her with a blank look. Chapter 209, Chapter 209, corrupting eyes. A few hours later, they were now inside one of the most luxurious houses they had ever seen. At least for Kateria, Haoh, and Rainare, who travelled around to various mortal places and lived in them. In the living room, where the table with various types of chairs was situated, has numerous goods in bags, as Sion had delivered them to them as he let them inside. Kateria immediately sat down, and next to her sat Ingvild, while Rainare started opening bags, making the smell drift through the house. Ariu salivated and took a seat, while Afi's eyes shined as she feels the smell is familiar to her but couldn't point out from there, as she took a blank expression. "Haoh, Afi's, come sit here." He pointed at his leg, indicating to sit in front of him, and without thinking she did just that. Soon Rainare completely unbagged everything and also sat down to have a nice meal and started taking meatballs, potato fries, and other things towards her mouth. Seeing the rest had started eating, Haoh took a kebab and placed it in front of Afi's, who smelled it a bit as she opened her mouth later and bite into it. Her eyes shined and grabbed it from his hand and started eating like there was no tomorrow, while Haoh's other hand kept fiddling her whole body. Ariu wanted to retort, but the pure taste of steaks and other goods clouded her judgment. As Afi's was eating what he was giving her, Haoh was also eating using his right hand while his left hand was busy. Eventually, he slipped his hand inside her shorts and started rubbing her lips while continuing the war with the goodies, trying to devour everything in front of her. She never bothered with complicated things or didn't know how to deal with complicated things, therefore she simplified things. If she has her body fondled, she would have various goods to eat. Haoh knew this. As to whether it was in anime or manga or novels, Afi's was always drawn into tasty things. Mostly sweet things though, but who can resist Clifcun food? By the time the whole table was emptied, Haoh could feel his finger that was inside her pussy all this time slowly messing her insides was wet with her pre-juices. Thinking that it was enough, he separated from her, leaving her on her own devices as he noticed her eyes flashing with light and turned to her. "Haoh, now that we have eaten, I will send you to a place where it will become your home." Hearing this, she eagerly waited, and Haoh snapped his finger, making her vanish as she entered inside his gear, and while he was on fire today, he sent back Rainare as well. Afi's appeared inside his gear and was shocked only to see darkness. She felt like she was tricked and this was not her home, but soon the whole place changed into exactly that of dimensional gap, causing her to drift here and there. This left Haoh with Kateria, Ingvild, and Ariu in the living room. "Haoh, finally, so many things happened today. Ariu, you really have the intention of corrupting Afi's, don't you?" "Haoh, I'm trying with everything I can." "Haoh, however, is that what you wish to say?" "Haoh, for Afi's, I have to slowly awaken her sexual urges, but for you, that is not needed." Haoh got up and got closer to her before directly inserted his hand between her thighs while at the same time gripping her breasts. "Haoh, sooner or later you will be eaten, but for now, I have a few appointments to keep." Chapter 210, Chapter 210, R18 time. After reprimanding Ariu, Haoh motioned to Kateria and Ingvild to follow him inside the bedroom for their repayment. Looking at each other's eyes, Kateria was the first to stand up and entered the bedroom, while her niece followed soon after, as she was still a bit hesitantly. Although she entered with a minute gap, she was already red as she found them kissing while Kateria was on top of Haoh while he was groping her cheeks with both hands. Haoh started slowly taking her clothes off while she was doing the same to him. Very soon both of them were completely naked, while Ingvild covered her eyes with her fingers but still left gaps in them to watch, causing the two of them to laugh. Haoh then got up as he was in his birthday suit, showing his arrow, and went to grasp her while pulling her in the bed. Before she could even exclaim, she felt her lips sealed with his while his tongue played with hers, causing her breath to become stagnant. A full minute later, Haoh finally separated from her lips, leaving a trail of saliva fall from his tongue to her mouth as she breathed heavily. He then laid down on the bed before he pulled Ingvild towards him and removed her clothes, which caused her to become even redder than before. She turns to see where Kateria was and found her playing with her pussy as it was wet and ready to welcome his arrow inside her. She positioned above his dick and slowly sat down to make Ingvild watch and learn from her actions before a moan escaped from her mouth as his dick hit her womb. As Ingvild was a bit lost on what to do, she was suddenly pulled and positioned with the help of the two of them above the head of Haoh as he started sucking her pussy, jolting her completely. At the same time, Kateria started moving up and down, punching his dick into her pussy. Slurp. 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 Slarp. 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 Sound of sucking and pounding were heard in the room while Kateria started moaning, not caring that her niece was there, while Ingvild started shivering to feel her lower region burning from the sucking and licking. Kateria, ahn. Ingvild, ah. Ingvild released a surprised m.o.a.n after Haoh twisted his tongue inside her vagina. Haoh, oh. Looks like I've found your weak spot. Haoh said to her with a grin on his face as he licked a specific location inside her pussy with his tongue, while this caused her to raise her voice. Ingvild, ah. 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 As the three of them kept going, Ariu has a frustrated look on her face as her body started fidgeting, smelling all the hormones in the air from their love-making section. It didn't even cross her mind to leave and enter the dimensional gap. She simply put all her attention to break this damn curse by killing him and completely forgot the fact that she could leave as the others did. However, suddenly her body shivered as the smell became more intense while their pleasured voices drifted to her ears, making her mind go blank. Inside the room, Kateria and Ingvild moaned hard as they reached their climax. Ingvild, aam. Kateria, aahungug. Splurt. 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 Haoh came inside her pussy, mixing it with her love juices as she came, while he got to enjoy the nectar coming from Ingvild's pussy before leaning forward weakly as if all her strength abandoned her. Chapter 211, Chapter 211, R18 time. 2. As the two girls panted heavily, Kateria was the first who stood up and moved from her spot while laying a few cm away from there with her legs open and her pussy in plain sight while oozing juices. Realizing her intentions, Haoh pushed Ingvild towards her and then got up and went behind Ingvild. Kateria placed the head of Ingvild in her pussy as a lovely smell assaulted Ingvild, causing her mind go blank as her body moved on her own and started sucking her juices. At the same time, Haoh positioned himself behind her before thrusting slowly forward and piercing her hymen. The pain waked her up, causing her to groan. Ingvild, grr. Slurp. 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 Slarp. 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 She started sucking harder and gulping what she was drinking while Haoh started picking up a bit of his speed as he wanted to get her used to it. At the same time, however, Ariu was trembling all over, while her eyes flashing with a deep golden color, and tried to keep her urges in check. This was why she preferred to stay in the dimension gap and shared the place with Ophis. Because despite the fact having the power to destroy the world, if she keeps actively sense mortals and supernatural being do the deed, she would get horny. But as she couldn't admit this, it turned into a hate relationship with Ophis as she thought she threw her out of her home. It's also why she doesn't use her powers of the dreams as much as possible, because she would always get horny when met with such scenes. Ariu, it's their second time. A bit more and I can endure. However, what she didn't know was that Haoh could go on easily with 5 girls at the same time, even if he does it once with each one. Back in the room. Slurp. 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 Slarp. 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 Kateria's eyes had rolled back from the pleasure of her pussy getting sucked and moaned constantly while Ingvild let out muffled moans. Kateria, ah. 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 Ingvild, mmmn. Mmm. As Haoh felt her body was shivering and was close to the second climax, she picked up his speed, causing her groan to sound louder while she started sucking harder as they all came at the same time. Splurt! 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 Haoh, a. Kateria, ah. Ingvild, mmm. Kateria came inside the mouth of Ingvild while Haoh came inside Ingvild's vagina as she engulfed his dick with her own juices. This time it was Kateria's turn to taste Ingvild's pussy, and Haoh laid down to tasted Kateria's pussy while Ingvild was left with his wet dragon. As they were lost in their own world for the third round, Haoh was growling outside thinking of when this will end. By the time they had climaxed for the third round, Ingvild was down for the count while Haoh and Kateria kept going as he was pounding her pussy to the point that her womb completely engulfed his dick. As he was pounding her pussy, he was sucking her breasts, licking them and biting her nipples, as this caused her mind to black out and wake up from the pleasure a few times before both of them climaxed. Splurt! 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 She placed Kateria, who fainted while her pussy kept twitching in pleasure, next to Ingvild, who was sleeping, and went out. However, as soon as he went outside, he was met on the couch with a naked figure sticking her fingers in her pussy and ass as two horrible predatory golden slit eyes that were burning with lust spot him. Chapter 212, Chapter 212, R18 time. 3. Haoh, WTF? Haoh, what happened to you? Haoh was shocked, although he knew somewhat that doing it while she is next to them, her reaction is way too violent. Seeing him, Haoh jumped and kissed him on the lips, and their lips remained on each other for many minutes. It was to the point that no breathing room was left. Haoh felt like he was suffocating. Haoh, Haaa. Haoh was already breathing heavily before they even began the real thing. A few moments later, she stood up, turned around, and bent forward towards the edge of the spring, shoving her flawless buttocks in the air and towards him. Seeing such a horny invitation, Haoh went and stuck his dick into her pussy. Either way they would have done it. So why not taste her now? He was surprised to find Haoh's already slippery pussy producing an alluring scent that makes his body hotter and hotter. Haoh, what the? Why am I feeling like that? Haoh, aeon. Haoh m.o.a. Ned wildly as her hole stretched and kept pounded by Haoh. Slarp. 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 The more they do it, the more his body heat up and the more he picked up his speed in thrusting inside her. He noticed that he was almost in a dreamlike trance as he continues to wildly pound on her. Carrie, who was inside him, was shocked. The Dragon of Dominion was speechless as she couldn't believe what was happening right now. Haoh's heart keeps pumping dragon blood in his body, refining it at a faster pace than before while having sex. His dragon blood is reacting to the Great Red's awakened lust and forces his body to produce energy for him to move. Carrie, what kind of monster will he be once he completes his refinement? What Carrie didn't notice was that a figure was next to her watching what she was watching with a deadpan expression on her face, unknown to what her thoughts were. Slarp. 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 Haoh, arg. Haoh, more. More. Muoaarg. He roar resounded in the few blocks away from where they lived, but only those living in the supernatural world heard it. Kateria and Ingvild woke up and rushed to the leaving room thinking that someone attacked them and were assaulted by a heavy aroma of love-making juices mixed together. Kateria, what the? How many times did they do it? Ingvild, and they still are. Splurt. 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 Haoh, Ingvild, were we like that after we climaxed? Kateria, no, there is clearly something wrong here. Kateria, it's like both of them are controlled by their urges. Ingvild, and how do we stop it? Kateria was quiet for a bit and didn't know how to answer her, however to their luck someone else did. Akari, use your sacred gear to control these two, as one is a full-fledged dragon while the other has the heart and blood of a dragon, to snap them back to reality. Ingvild, yeah, but won't that count as me attacking him? Akari, don't worry, the most that will happen is the area around 1000 meters to freeze for a couple of hours. Akari, that should be enough to snap both of them back to reality. Akari, although I believe Haoh is conscious and can't stop his body. Ingvild nodded and willed her sacred gear to control them, and as Akari said, everything around them froze as she couldn't move at all. Haoh, grow Aeon. Damn. Haoh, hey Aeon. Haa. Both he and Arihu snapped back to reality and separated after they did it around 20 times and panted harshly. Chapter 213, Chapter 213, that was addicting. Arihu, hey off. Arihu, I didn't expect that. Haoh, me neither. Haoh, it was amazing though. Haoh, it must be the best sex I had within 1 to 2 hours. Arihu wanted to retort, but she was tired and actually couldn't deny it, as it felt like doing it with another dragon instead of a human. But this bastard ate all the rewards as his body became stronger and stronger with each session. Akari inside the core space sighed, and as she breathed out she had a heart attack when she saw a gothic Lolita sitting next to her and watching the show. She opened and closed her mouth several times and almost fainted when off eyes turned towards her and scanned her figure. She then stood up and left, returning to her place within the gear. Akari, I'm not sure if I should be surprised or not that even this gear didn't hold her. However, moments later, she facepalmed herself as his gear on balance breakers connects all customized dimensions inside, so of course, she can come and go. After calming down, Haoh fell on the grand bed and slept till morning while the girls did the same. When they woke up, Haoh found a few ingredients in the fridge and started making food. As there were not many different types of ingredients, there were not many choices. So he cooked 2 to 3 dishes while making preparations for the plates on dinner. As he was cooking, he felt his body way stronger and durable than before and decided to check his stats. DxD, showing stats. Name, Haoh Yorion. Age, 16, 26. Health, 10.368.000. Magic, 10.368.000. Power, 360.815 greater than 412.358, refined 50%. Speed, 360.815 greater than 412.358, refined 50%. Defense, 360.815 greater than 412.358, refined 50%. Sacred Gear, Hikari Toyami number 32 no Hashira, 32 Pillars of Light and Darkness. Balance Breaker, Multi-Pillar Cosmos. Sacred Gear, Boosted Gear. Balance Breaker, Pillar Armor. Darkness Pillar. 1. Rain-Array, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 4 Wings/MV 990.000. 2. Konako Tajao, Scale 2 Peak Nikomata/Devil, 1st Stage Sage/MV 990.000. 3. Middled, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 2 Wings/MV 490.000. 4. Kala Warner, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 2 Wings/MV 495.000. 5. Zenobia Quarta, Scale 3 Low Brave Saints/MV 160.000. 6. Kateria Leviathan, Scale 6 Low Muas/MV 5.050.000. 7. Ingvild Leviathan, Scale 6 Low Muas/MV 5.300.000. 8. Off-Eyes, Scale 9 Dragon God/MV Infinite. 9. Great Red, Scale 9 Dargon God/MV Infinite. Light Pillar. 1. Rias Gremory, heiress, fiancé, scale 4 mid-high class devil / MV 1.450.000. 2. Sana Satrai, heiress, fiancé, scale 4 mid-high class devil / MV 1.430.000. 3. Ross Weiss, 5th stage Valkyrie / MV 10.368.000. 4. Akeno Jima, scale 2 peak devil / fallen angel / MV 990.000. 5. Seraphal Leviathan, scale 6 low muis / MV 6.200.000. 6. Graphia Lucifuge, scale 6 low muis / MV 5.250.000. 7. Irina Shadu, scale 3 low brave saints / MV 140.000. 8. Gabriel, scale 6 low 4 great seraphs / MV 5.050.000. 9. Shijun Nanaderu, scale 5 peak sage / MV 1.000.000. Money, 600 cash / pervert points, 450.000. He was flabbered when he saw the refinement reaching 50% and was quite excited, thinking what would happen when he has sex with Ophis. He would lose himself in the aspect of infinity and have infinite sex. He shuddered thinking about it, while his dick twitched in anticipation, making him smile bitterly, as if he has sex for all infinity he will probably burn out before he even reached the infinite climax. Chapter 214, Chapter 214, Going to the Underworld. A few days have passed and Haoh, having no money, he had to turn to his system and trade 10.000 points from his 450.000, making him have 440.000. But in exchange, he now has 100.000 cash. At the same time, he had contact Graphia and fixed the block and area from his fight with Ophis. What surprised him though was that there was no one in the block. As everything was back to normal, he visited the Cliff restaurant to return the keys to Cian when he returns from his trip. A few more days passed and Haoh looked at his current quests and how to tackle them. DxD, quest triggered. Go on a tour towards the 72 pillars and the various powerhouses in the underworld. Rewards, 100.000 pervert points, 25% stats up. DxD, quest triggered. Kill anyone who interrupts the discussion. Rewards, 200.000 pervert points, 25% stats up. DxD, quest triggered. Obtain the evil pieces. Rewards, 1 to 2 mutated 20.000 pervert points, 1 to 5 mutated 30.000 pervert points, 1 to 8 mutated 40.000 pervert points, 1 to 12 mutated 50.000 pervert points, 1 to 16 mutated 100.000 pervert points. He currently had 3 quests ongoing and one of them confused him a bit. What discussion? And it was then that he remembers the talks with Odin when Loki messed everything up. He called Seraphal and told her that she wanted to tour the underworld, as in close to a week the gathering of young devils will happen. As this was a nice chance, he also wanted to get his evil pieces. After he gets the pieces, he will tour around the 72 clans. Then he will find the ones that are getting abused and offered them a haven for them to stay and he to enter their PA. Cough. Cough. Their hearts. A few hours later, Ajuka and Sertsks came along with Seraphal. Sertsks, how come you decided to come now to the underworld? Haoh, I remember about the meeting and thought, why not? Haoh, I'm curious about my pieces and wish to see if there will be any people worth taking in my peerage. Sertsks and Ajuka twitched as they were 100% certain that he was gonna say girls, but decided to let it go as Seraphal was laughing at their expression. As they traveled, they talked about various things and who will enter the tournament. It turns out many people will join from all clans. Haoh, are there any people that will come to the gathering but don't belong or have a peerage? Sertsks, that's hard to say. Ajuka, as you may not know, many of the 72 clans are extinct, meaning they have very few people and possible you can count them with one hand or both hands. Ajuka, therefore they don't participate in any event unless it is to discuss something that concerns the underworld. Haoh nodded, as even in the anime and manga along with various legit novels released about DxD there was little information about them. The Snake Clan actually is a clan that was destroyed and started rising upwards later on, and become one of the clans today. Previously they were called Vipar clan. So calling them now Snake Clan is not big deal. After reaching the technological department of Ajuka, where the entire system of the evil pieces were first created, they entered inside while a lovely voice makes them stopped. Ajuka uncle, you came back so soon? Ajuka cursed in his mind as the moment his niece appeared. Haoh teleported himself in front of her while holding her hands and introducing himself. Haoh, hey, beautiful. My name is Haoh. Haoh, could I have the honor of knowing your lovely name? Chapter 215, Chapter 215, The Pieces. My name is Latia, Latia Astaroth. Latia, how come you are so close to me? Back away a bit. Latia is a beautiful girl with almond eyes with long blonde hair tinged with blue at the tips, as she has a voluptuous body and large breasts, whose proportions are similar to Rias. She wears a noble-like dress while holding an elegant folding fan. Haoh, hey, Latia-chan. Hear this. Haoh, I came to the underworld for a tour towards the clans, and instead of sending me two beautiful girls, Haoh, they send me those two old men. Haoh, how cruel of them to come personally. Latia was speechless, and Surtsk with Ajuka were on the verge of breaking down all decorum with him and try to kill him. They were switching so badly that it could be seen from how much their face distorted that the trembling was pure anger. Haoh, here, take a look. Those two old men are so old that they are tired just from taking a small walk to guide me here. Haoh, I wouldn't be surprised if they faint by now. Haoh pointed their fingers at them as he spoke, which made the two of them puke blood inwardly, while Latia looked confused as to who Haoh was and why her uncle wasn't saying anything. She could see that he was on the verge of erupting, which was rare for him. So rare that in fact, she hadn't heard anything about him ever lashing out. She then chuckled as she covered her mouth with her flawless jade-like hands, making all people froze as none expected this. Latia, little friend, if you wish to agitate my uncle you are far off. Haoh, wow, I didn't expect this. Haoh, you sure are kind to bypass all my comments on them. Latia, giggle. Latia, it wasn't that difficult to bypass them, I simply ignored them. Latia, however, what's this about you getting pieces? Aren't you a human? Haoh, he. Haoh, my soul is purely human and the heart along with the blood in my body is that of a dragon. Latia, how? Ajuka, did you use your boosted gear to turn a part of you into a dragon? Ajuka, and you chose heart? Surtsks, no, more importantly, how are you still alive? Haoh, he, I have a powerful master. Ajuka, makes sense, and I guess you used your other gear to hello you. Haoh, true. However, now I no longer have two gears, you can say that it's one. Ajuka, interesting. I had heard a bit about your first one from Surtsk, as he had investigated and asked Rias and Sana. Ajuka, so now you have both aspects of the two into one. Haoh, you can say that. Latia, wait, uncle, what two? Two sacred gear? In a human body? Haoh, he, now you are interested in me? Haoh, I'm sorry to say though that we will have to talk later. Haoh, we have wasted enough time. Surtsks and Ajuka were speechless, as in the first place we lost time because of him, but didn't say anything and walked forward. However, now the curiosity within Latia grew, which made her unable to hide it, and followed them inside. Ajuka brought Haoh into the measuring and analytic machine of auras before creating the evil pieces. He started explaining how to go about it. It was quite easy actually. He needs to put his hand inside the hole of the machine and release his magic through his hand as the machine does its own magic. During the whole process, Ajoka was really skeptical as he had built this with a clear goal of devils creating devils by reincarnating them. So he didn't know if a pure human soul could actually get a set. Chapter 216, Chapter 216, The Pieces. 2. Beep. 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 The machine started ringing, which shocked everyone present, especially Ajoka, who knew what this meant. He kept looking over the data and compare it a few times with previous data from full-fledged devils, half-devils/other race. He completely lost himself in his research, while Latia, who saw this, told Haoh that it was fine to stop feeding the machine with magic. They now have to wait for the pieces to be created on the machine next to it, as a case will appear from its export position. Ajoka finally found a few similarities in the numbers. However, to be sure, he needed to see the final products. After an agonizing 3 hours, the machine started ringing again. Beep. 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 A suitcase came out from the machine and Ajoka proceeded to open it, only to be shocked while freezing on his spot. Surtsk, who saw this along with Latia, went forward to find the reason for his exaggeration, only to have their eyes open wide. On the other hand, Haoh was also gawking as his system rang for the completion of his quest. DxD, quest completed. Obtain the evil pieces. Rewards, 1 to 16 mutated 100.000 pervert points. Ajoka, impossible, why is this piece here? Surtsks, a king piece and 15 mutated ones. Latia looked in disbelief at the pieces in the suitcase, and then her gaze fell at Haoh before returning to the case and kept going back and forth. Surtsks, what did you discover earlier? Ajoka, first of all pieces bound to the soul of king that they were created for. Ajoka, after that, the said person acts like a king piece and grants his peerage the rest of the pieces, enabling him to have 15 members serving their king. Ajoka turned to Haoh and Latia and stared at them with a serious face before activating more jamming magic equipment in his lab to make it even more secured. His meaning was clear. What will be said now is considered a secret. Ajoka, original speaking, there were 16 pieces, not 15. Ajoka, created in the early days of the raiding game's existence by myself, they were judged too dangerous due to their effect and the possibility of being abused by devils who had malicious intentions towards the government and could even harm the government. Ajoka, therefore their production was stopped early on, and only with myself knowing the specifics on how to create them. Ajoka, despite that, 12 king pieces were created and 9 were seized before I could lock them away. Ajoka, the characteristic of the king piece is power enhancement, as it can strengthen the user by several folds. The strengthening is possible on a magnitude of 10 or 100, as it can elevate a high-class devil into power that is comparable to ultimate class, and even strengthening some users to Satan class powers. Ajoka, if the king piece is used by someone who is already too strong, or if it is used by someone who has a special ability, an overload may occur, as in the worst case, it would endanger their lives. Ajoka, therefore I had altered the machines to read the individual's devil powers as kings in substitute for the king piece. Ajoka, as each devil has its own devil power frequency even if they are from the same family, and that is possible because their souls are different. Haoh, then that means that if the king piece is bonded with a soul that has no devil powers frequency, it doesn't strengthen them several folds but converts their magic to devil's magic and enable them to use the rest of the pieces. Chapter 217, Chapter 217, The Pieces. 3. Surtsks, in other words, it converts the user's magic into devil's magic during the reincarnation, and that solves things. Ajoka, yet, and what was surprising was the fact that all of his pieces are mutated ones, which show not only his strength but also how special his magic is. Ajoka, until date, I haven't discovered why they mutated. Ajoka, perhaps it's a way for the system to comprehend them, devils, for losing their king piece, as officially I had stated that it was a bug in the system and was kept to spicy thing up. Haoh, come to think of it, you said 9 out of the 12 king pieces were seized, and to this date, you don't know where they are, right? Ajuka nodded as that was the truth. What he didn't expect though was Haoh's next words. Haoh, if I recall correctly, my master was hunting down a few criminals and apparently they were part of an organization that he had never heard before. Haoh, those he hunted back in his days were closely related to the top of that faction. Haoh, I don't remember what happened in the end. Haoh, but I know that the previous ruler of Haoh died because she accidentally discovered a few people that had such a piece. Both, what? Sirtsks, are you certain? Ajuka, I knew there was something fishy about it. Ajuka, how come the Belial clan didn't have opposed to her supposed love for that exorcist? Sirtsks, are the Belial clan knows of the reason why she died? Ajuka, no, as far as I know they are still searching for a clue. Haoh, if I recall their name was Kliputh faction. Sirtsks, is your master still hunting them? Haoh, I'm not sure, and what I know is barely info I secretly heard, which I'm certain he let me hear to increase my skills, or he knew that I would get here. Ajuka, a terrifying foresight to calculate everything and know how things will stand in the future but not know when or where. Ajuka, we will have to inform the Belials about this. Sirtsks, I will get it done personally. No, in fact, let's go now. Ajuka, now? Oh, wait, you mean? Sirtsks, he came for a tour, right? Sirtsks, let's sweep the lower rank ones first, which will be faster in reaching the Belial clan. Haoh, hey! Shouldn't first bond with the king piece? How do I do that? Both of them snapped back to reality and laughed wryly, as Haoh was right. They needed to hide this piece, and what was the best place to do so? Of course his soul. Ajuka, drop a bit of blood to the piece and it will fly towards your body, merging with it before merging with your soul. Haoh nodded and did exactly that, surprising though he didn't get any notification from his system, as it was not a race change or something. The only thing he saw in his stats was a new column under his pillars saying peerage, but there was nothing there. Obviously, since he doesn't have a member yet. Haoh, I wonder who will become my queen. Haoh, should I use it on Rainare? He had many targets for his peerage, both from his own pillars to goddesses and other girls. He failed to notice though that Latia was looking at him, and Ajuka, who saw this, smiled wryly. He had talked in the past with her to enter in a peerage, but this guy is only searching comfort, which he had to admit he was jealous. But it still didn't sit well with him for his niece to join him. Chapter 218, Chapter 218, The 72 Clans. Sirtsks, the first clan we are going now is the 72nd Andromalius clan. Sirtsks, the House of Andromalius was considered to be one of the lowest ranking clan of the 72 pillars, which held the rank of Count. Ajuka, however, they were not as lower in terms of their labeled ranking, as members of the Andromalius clan are known famously for their mastery of their demonic power and smelting, which enables the user to create and forged objects in the air. Ajuka, they are also known for their close-quarter combat techniques and making of close combat weapons as their main source of income, just like the House of Phoenix is known for their manufacturing of Phoenix tears. Sirtsks, due to these reasons, they have produced some of the strong knights in the underworld history, giving them the nickname the Blades of the Underworld. Haoh, and despite all that war and disputed brought them to their knees. Haoh, who had survived so far? Sirtsks, only a few of them have left. Sirtsks, they are Brenskin Tilkisth, Malrina Tilkisth, Durish Tilkisth, Kolrina Tilkisth, Nikolai Andromalius, Phaelith Andromalius, Jin Andromalius, Cain Andromalius, Ariel Andromalius, Maya Andromalius. Haoh, ignoring the last names, only 10 people? Sirtsks, the Tilkish is the original family of Phaelith before marrying into the Andromalius. As all of them reach what was left from their property in their glory, they heard a voice coming from inside. Ariel, don't run. You are gonna bump into someone. They all saw a cute young girl with short silvery blue hair. She has slightly pointed ears, which are common for the inhabitants of Dragon Keen. Her noticeable feature is her dragon-like green-colored pupil with cute, small dragon-like horns coming out of her head. Her overall attire resembles that of a mix of stylized Shinkiwanian and Kugan's robe clothing. She wears long-robed loyal clothes with intricate flower pattern designs, detachable sleeves, hairpins, and multiple pieces of cloth tied with jingle bells. On her clothes has her clan's symbol, indicating her status as a member of the Tilkisth clan. Ariel, we have guests? Ariel, Mom, Mom. The little girl started running back to call her mother and soon 4 people came out. It was the little girl, another girl that resembled 100% the mature lady and their father. Sertsks, oh Nikolai. Nikolai, how come 2 of the Satan Kings are at my doorsteps? Ajulka, nothing much, be at ease. We are showing this little friend the underworld and the clans around. Ajulka, plus we had nothing to do so we thought of checking the problems here and there. Nikolai, I see. Nikolai, this is my wife Phaelith, and these 2 are my daughters Maya and Ariel. Haoh looked at the mother-daughter pair and was amazed. Phaelith is a fair-skinned, beautiful, well-endowed young woman who has the appearance of early mid-20s with the height of 5'8" tops with long, knee-length black hair with shades of violet with red and gold hairpin to keep her hair tied at the top. And finally, she has slightly pointed ears which are common for the inhabitants of Dragon Keen. Her noticeable feature is her dragon-like green-colored pupil with small dragon-like horns coming out of her head. Her daughter was the same as her, only she looked 10 to 12 years old. Haoh, greeting. I'm just looking around the Klina and later on we'll watch the gathering. Haoh, nice to meet you. Seeing his attitude, all of them smiled and welcomed them inside as they offered them drinks and snacks while chatting about problems that may have been raised. All the while Haoh played with Ariel and Maya. After an hour or so they left heading to the next clan while Haoh had a hunch he would travel around for 3 to 4 days at this pace. Chapter 219, Chapter 219, The 72 Clans. 2. Haoh, what about this clan? Both Sertsks and Ajulka frowned as there was almost no one in this clan left and they knew the reason behind it. Sertsks, Dandelion clan head was created by Lucifer long ago, which she then went on and became the progenitor of House Dandelion. Ajulka, she did that through the process of parthenogenesis after learning the secrets from observing various goddesses as opposed to her siblings who asked their creator to create a partner for them to sleep and have children with or going out and sleeping with human women. Ajulka, during the Great War, she fought alongside her creator and was nearly killed by the Seraphiel, in combat. Sertsks, after the Great War, Satanikia's son, Rezevim, inherited the name of Lucifer and led the old Mua faction against the new Mua faction, forcing her to go into hiding to avoid being drawn into another war. Haoh, she is clever. Hide to save the few people of her clan. Haoh, does that mean that she is alive? Ajulka, that also one of the mysteries of the supernatural world, as we don't know how Rezevim managed to do that. After reaching their house, or should he say a rocky mountain, and passed through some magic barriers, we saw the interior being a normal mansion. To what I have the honor of your visit here. Haoh was stunned as he watched her. Dandelion is an extremely beautiful woman with pale blue, almost silver, hair and a shapely figure. She possesses yellow eyes, a trademark trait of all demons. Her casual wear consists of a black turtleneck sweater, white jeans, and black shoes. She also wears a silver watch on her left wrist along with glasses. If I'm not wrong, both of you should be busy for the gathering. Sertsks, that's why we are here. Danta. Ajulka, we are on a small tour around the clans and show this little friend around. Sertsks, furthermore learn of existing problems and which clan will participate. Danta, so you have combined 3 reasons to 1. Quite practical. Danta, if it was just 1 you wouldn't bother at all, or you would, as this little guy is interesting. Haoh, I also think you are quite attractive. Haoh, it can't be you are the only one in this clan, right? Danta, this household only had me and my daughter, which I assume you know how she was birthed. Haoh, I know, that's why I asked. Haoh, also excuse me. My name is Haoh Yorion. Danta, polite I see. Then why are you here? Ho, I'm looking for members for my peerage. Danta, peerage? You? And I assume girls. Ho, it has always been girls. Danta, how? So Har only half human and half devils are able to get peerage. Ho, well, I helped here Ajilka to create a way, but due to being a prototype and some complications it will be revealed later on. Ajilka, yep, so we are also checking the clans for people. Danta narrowed her eyes as she could see much more than what they tell, and she could see two forces perfectly blend with each other in the heart area of Ho. At the same time, she could see lines extending outwards towards unknown locations. Danta, interesting. I'll join. My daughter has someone she likes while at the same time already has a peerage. Danta, however, I'll join your peerage if I get entangled with the lines on your chest. Surtsks, Ajilka and Ho first looked confused about what she meant by lines, but a few seconds later Ho snapped back to reality. She can see who is connected to my pillars that are not in the space? Chapter 220, Chapter 220, The 72 Clans. 3. Ho, HOH, your eyes can see that much? Danta, you are belittle me a bit much. Ho, no, I'm not, I'm just awed as much as surprised. Surtsks, Ho, what does she mean? Ho, she can see my sacred gear and the people connected to it with lines extending from my chest. Ho, those lines cross over realms to where the girls currently are located, but she can't see the destination of them. Ho, so with only the lines she figured I'm connected with others. Ajilka, that's amazing, isn't that like seeing the strings of fate or something? Ho, you can say it's similar. Danta, so what is gonna be? Ho, well, there is a problem with that. Ho proceeded in explaining a bit about his gear and his pillars, making her face more and more excited as her nickname was Mad Scientist and was banned from many places. If she were to join, won't she has a customized space occasionally for her work without anyone bothering her? Danta, so you are searching first for fuck buddies which will then turn to your wives and gave birth to your kids. The three of them laughed wryly as it was too bold of her to word it like that, and even Ho wasn't shameless to say it like that. Ho, technically it's their kids as well, I don't want emotionless mothers that discard their children, no thank you. Danta, sure, why not? I'm not an expert in parenting, but I'll make sure to be one. Ho nodded and immediately his system rang and Danta saw his chest shining before a line launched towards her and wrapped around her. He then took his queen piece out. Ho, do you Danta Dantelian wish to serve as my queen? Danta, yes. Ho flared his magic power as a unique crest appeared in green color under his feet and the queen piece flew and entered in the chest of Danta. Her power increased by quite a lot, shocking her, and not just her but Surtsks and Ajilka were shocked. She was a peak scale 5 MV 4.000.000 before, but now she crossed to mid scale 6 MV 7.000.000. The place returned to peace and quiet after she officially became his queen, and she still couldn't believe that she became 75% stronger. Ho, wow, that was a nice power up. Ho, finish what you have to do and then follow me along to search for others. As my queen and a mad scientist, you need to regulate my peerage. Dante, give me a few minutes to pack and notify my daughter that is out. Ho nodded and waited with Surtsks and Ajilka about the next clans and what to expect going there. After Danta was done, they all left and toured around through Sierra clan and Decarabia, but similarly, they were a handful of people on the clan. After quite some time they reached the Belial and were welcomed by the guards, as the news of them going around has spread some time ago from scouts to travelers. Ho and Danta looked around the mansion as many maids entertained them, while Surtsks and Ajilka called a high-level meeting to tell those their findings of clues. The talks went for 2 hours, much to Ho boredom, and when they came out Surtsks and Ajilka had defeated looks. Ho, why the long faces? Ajilka, about that, they had learned of it some time ago, but similar to your master they are unable to find their traces. Surtsks, therefore this meeting turns into one on how to cooperate to deal with them, as from their findings it seems to be connected to those fanatics from the old Satan. Chapter 221, Chapter 221, The 72 Clans. 4. After a few ups and downs they came to Amdusias clan, where they were welcomed with open arms, even though not many people live here, but definitely more than the fingers of 2 hands. Haoh also saw the daughters of the current leader, but turned out they were engaged and it didn't click him either for his peerage or his wives. Continue through the clans, they passed by Sime Rias, Andre Alphys, where they met with a young attractive woman with long, wavy blonde hair and red eyes while wearing a business suit. She is Coriana, Andre Alphys's Saray Org's bishop from the house of Andre Alphys, helping them to be more at ease before they continued through the clans. They then went through Floros, Andres, Valak, Zagan, Vapula, Oryx, Amy, Os clans before reaching the Gremory clan. However, they stopped on Andres clan for quite some time as Haoh took notice of 3 girls. They were Discua Andres, Lucrezia Andres, Harmonia Andres. They spent 3 hours because of their beauty and unique abilities of the latter 2 compared to the former one, who was more normal. What was surprising was learning that Lady Phoenix was from this household. The moment he asked them to be part of his peerage, Discua started lashing out while averting eyes and eating her words, making everyone gasped at her antics, while Haoh thought at Sundara in front of me, and after much talking out with her she agreed. Haoh gave her the peace of night. Lucrezia, however, was crazier, or most honest, as she is bisexual and has a fetish for blind dates and intercourse with strangers. She directly asked Danta in front of everyone to fuck each other, and when she refused because she is Haoh's woman, she said to have a threesome. As Haoh refused, she used her powers to create games with the rules circling around her, either fucking Danta or having a threesome. This pissed off Haoh and played with her rules before he told her something as they started. Haoh, you know, at first your beauty had my attention. Now your beauty, the only thing it has is my desire to teach you a harsh lesson. Lucrezia, ha ha ha, you are nothing but a servant in my eyes that exists to follow orders and nothing more. The result of their game was Haoh dying in the process, only for her to be shocked as she could no longer move and Haoh waking up. Haoh, well, you like intercourse, right? Haoh, it's been some time since I was this irritated. What followed in the next 2 hours was only known by Danta, who was studying the space freeze and time duration inside and outside. However, thankful to Lucrezia, he balanced his pillars to 10/10. Harmonia, on the other hand, easily accepted, as he could see that many of the people are looking at her like a monster, and if he guessed correctly they would eventually abandon her. Her ees contained hatred that was ready to erupt, but was held back by her consciousness that they were her family. Haoh gave her the peace of bishop. Lucrezia, wait. What about me? Haoh, you? I believe a pawn would suit you. Want it? She was devastated that she was reduced to a pawn, but accepted. Either way, half-heartedly, it would be later on that she would realize how useful the pawn piece is. Until they reached the Gremory clan for Surtsks to arrange a few things, Lucrezia was depressed as she followed behind. Surprisingly, as they entered the Gremory clan estate, they found Rias, Akeno, Issei, Asia, Konako, Kaiba, and Gaspar training. As Zenobia, Irina, and Ross Weiss didn't join them, it seems to made Rias realize she is weak and is training along with the members. Chapter 222, Chapter 222, The 72 Clans. 5. What surprised Haoh the most was Issei's growth. He was almost as strong as his counterpart using Balance Breaker. Since he lost the sacred gear, the world made it up to him by having an explosive growth that far surpassed his growth on the anime. Akeno kept firing at him, lighting and using his jiggling ability he had learned before. He always returned the magic to Akeno, forcing her to dodge. At the same time, he could see Issei gathering magic on his palm, and as he thrusted forward, a rippling magic wave dispersed and any attacks coming in contact with it got disperse. It was like he was distorting space. As he waited for Surtsks to finish his own things and continue to the clans, he saw a few maids bringing them clothes. Haoh, why clothes? But soon a dreadful feeling overcame him, and as Asia brewed tea for them, Issei Tank helped by touching her hands and her clothes burst apart. Asia, Kai Mo. Issei. Issei, I'm sorry. I can't control the rippling effect. Rias rubbed her temple and sighed tirelessly before she sat down and drank a few sips of tea to calm down. Working hard? Rias turned her head and saw Ajilka, which then noticed Haoh and nodded. Rias, I wish to improve a bit my peerage, mostly Asia and Issei. Rias, while Kaiba is fine and he is steadily going stronger. Rias, as for Konako and Akeno, they are strong since they trained there. Rias, lastly I think Gasper can win against us on his own ever since he controlled his gear. Haoh, so what's up with Issei? Haoh, why is he so strong? Rias, we asked Nai-sama a few days ago and he told us it was because his magic power wasn't needed to feed the boosted gear anymore and took an explosive growth. Rias, thanks to that he can use that Jiglinga Ishi ability as he called it all the time. Haoh, what about the second one I saw and the third one? Rias, those two are actually one ability. Rias, one day he started massaging Asia to make her relax. Rias, thinking what to do for her to feel better, he used his magic in low frequency like vibrations. Rias, wanna hear the result? For some reason, Haoh thought he would regret this and damn he was jello. No, damn he was right. Rias, Asia climaxed and squirted at least twice. Cough. 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 That damn bastard. What the hell is wrong with his ideas? They are damn original. Rias, after an experiment in different objects we discovered that it reaps through the fabric and destroyed armors. Rias, while upon contact with magic it disperses it. Rias, and now he is training it to make it offensively. Haoh, how about I help him with that? Haoh, at least until Surtsk's returns. Haoh, also take your time to get to know my peerage so far and two of my new pillars. Rias nodded and looked at the far back where four girls were sitting there and went to invite them for tea and some gossips. Haoh on the other hand went to grab Issei and dragged him on a training field. Rias met with Danta Dantalion, who was the 10th light pillar and his queen. Discua Andres is his knight. Lucrezia Andres is his 10th darkness pillar and also one of his pawn. While Harmonia Andres was his bishop. Rias was flabbered as she could feel all of them being peak high devils, with Danta giving her immense pressure similar to Graphia, which was on the level of Mu. Chapter 223, Chapter 223, The 72 Clans. 6. Rias started explaining the purposes of the peace they got while Lucrezia snorted, making Rias baffle about how Haoh accepted such a problematic member. Danta then proceeding to tell her what happened, not caring about the glares she was getting, which made Rias sigh. Rias, you had the bad luck targeting him, so I won't comment on that. Rias, however, you must be special for him to give you a pawn. Lucrezia, he did it on purpose. A pawn is equal to a slave. Danta chuckled while Rias sighed once again, as it seems she had no idea where she got herself into. Rias, the traits of pawns is the ability to promote into a queen, rook, knight, or bishop in enemy territory or with the permission of their king. Rias, meaning that the pawn always gets power UPS depending on certain actions. Rias, for you to get one must be due to your little games you trapped others. Rias, queen gets an increase overall. Knight increases speed. Bishop magic power while rook increases power. Lucrezia was stunned as Rias explained to her that she can have a go at all types of power UPS, which made her grin and get lost in her own thoughts. She even secretly murmured Mastar, Mastar. Haoh on the other hand, unaware that someone had secret fetishes, was making Issei show him what his rippling wave can do as he was throwing balls of pure magic at him. Haoh, those are some weird qualities you have there. Issei, you think? Haoh, yeah. Who would have thought of using vibrations using magic just for a massage and it turns into a lethal weapon? Issei, lethal? I can only disperse armors and clothes along with magic coming right at me. Haoh, you underestimate vibrations way too much. Issei. Haoh, gather your magic in your palm as before and thrust forward. Haoh, however, the moment you thrust, close your palm and turn it into a fist. Haoh, I believe something interesting will happen. Issei was confused but still did what Hosenpai told him, and as soon as he threw no punch forward, the magic gathered in his now fist. While vibrating, it exploded outwards. Crack! From his fist, a spider web crack extending in the fabric of space, shocking Issei, but Ho still waited for the aftermath to be completed. Boom! A storage room almost 50 meters from where they were, and surprisingly in the line of Issei's punch, got blown away, alarming everyone in the Gremory clan, and got here instantly only to see Issei looking dumbfounded at his fist. Rias, what happened? Ajuka, is everyone okay? Surtsks, what was that? After seeing that no one attacked them, they focused on Issei and Ho, which the former was stunned while the latter had a wild smile on his face. All according to Kakaku. Issei is gonna be the DxD Whitebeard. Jokes aside, he was surprised that Issei could actually pull off similar effect, but not with a devil fruit, only using his magic. The vibration is strong with this bastard. However, now he can steal his idea and please his girls all the times to the point of exhaustion from their first round. Ho, Issei, do it again and target the same place. We don't want to destroy anything else. Issei snapped back to reality and nodded to him and proceeded in doing it again. Boom! Everyone was shocked to see the space around Issei's fist cracks, and then the half-ruined storage room becomes only ruins. Thankfully there wasn't anyone inside. However, he failed to notice or ignored a maid laid in her ass in the corner as she was going to that storage room. There were only a few meters till she reached the door. Chapter 224, Chapter 224, The 72 Clans. 7. After settling everything and letting Issei practice, Surtsks, Ajuka, Ho, Danta, Discua, Harmonia, and Lucrezia departed for the next clans. They first passed through Abara's clan, which made Ho want to run from here. Orobas himself welcomed them while the maids were busy and Ho wanted to puke. Even Lucrezia was looking disgusted, but all of them hid it quite well. Orobas appeared as a transgender cosplayer because he wants to express his heart. He colored his lips pink and his hair as well, because recently, pink has become his favorite color. He wore only violet jeans and violet gloves, occasionally putting a small flat purple hat on his head. Hurriedly retreating, they went to Mermu and came where there was nothing noteworthy, and after greeting a few of their members and left. Continue on, they went through Alosar, Balam, Furkas, Krosel, Hajanti, Deval, Bifrons, Vine, Shax, Sabnok, and had a stop at Vipar clan, or else the now knowing Snake clan. Having come here, everyone who had hassled with Ho before appeared and kneeled on the ground asking for forgiveness. However, Ho wasn't paying attention to them, but instead the girls that came full of curiosity to check why members of the clan kneeled and made such a commotion. What surprised him though was the fact that she didn't resemble a snake at all. She more or less resembled a milk-for. Specifically, a mermaid, as she didn't have legs but to the bottom was that of a mermaid. Ho smiled at her while she was scared and vanished from his sight, but sometimes she popped her head out like a curious child. After saying their hello, Ho and the rest left as they didn't have much time in their hands. They continue going around the clans, and Ho realized why they were never mentioned, as they barely had any members left in the family. Most clans only had the parents and their children, and if they were lucky their grandparents as well. They continued and passed through Focolor, Rame, Malphas, Halfas, Phoenix, Stellas, March Osseous, Furfur, Gaap, Asmodee, Foras, Fornews, and stopped at Astaroth. When Ajuka returned to the clan there was an uproar, and soon many guards came to greet them, making Ajuka smile wryly. Father! Father! You are back! A young girl with the figure of a middle schooler with pale skin, long blonde hair tied into two pigtails with dark green ribbons, and piercing blood-red colors appeared. While she wears a gothic Lolita-style attire. Ho was stunned, as she was quite a beauty and this guy hid her from him. And he knew the reason, as he could see as a result of her mixed vampire blood, she possesses pointed ears and fangs which seemed to be kinda dull. Ajuka, Rachel, how are you? Seeing that her father asks for her well-being, Rachel smiled, which left all the guards dumbfounded, and that was something that Haoh didn't miss. However, realizing the silence, she coughed and spoke again while trying to be somewhat warm and cold. Rachel, I'm fine. Rachel, will you stay for long? Ajuka, unfortunately not now. I have to get this little friend with Uncle Sertsks around the clans, and then there is the youth meeting. Rachel, ah, I see. Sadness overwhelmed her beautiful eyes while Ajuka smiled wryly and in bitterness. After greeting everyone else, Sertsks spoke up, followed by Haoh. Sertsks, you should spend more time with her, you know. Haoh, is she getting ignored because she is half a devil and half a vampire? Ajuka, sigh. You can say that, and thankful only a few selective people know of her existence, and now you all. Ajuka, as my name holds power, no one in the clan threatens her, and apart from some daily things she is dying from boredom. Haoh, you mean getting affection, as that seems to me she is lacking. Chapter 225, Chapter 225, The 72 Clans. 8. Haoh thought about it and had a nice idea before walking around while ditching the others. After searching and asking around, he finally finds her in her room, and he could swear he was hearing sobs. This place must be hell for her. Knock. 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 As he knocked, he started hearing sounds and footsteps running here and there in panic, which caused him to chuckle. She is probably wiping her tears and readjust herself to meet whoever is disturbing her. A few moments later, she opened the door with the usual cold face, but failed as her eyes were red not only from their initial color but also from crying. At the same time, she started frowning seeing a guest here. Haoh, hey there little girl. Veins appeared on her forehead, and Haoh thought, shit, she isn't a little girl but looks like one. Rachel, what would you like my help with? Haoh, I don't need your help. Rachel, then why did you disturb me? Rachel didn't know how to answer, and she would lie if she said no, but this hesitation was all he needed to know. Haoh, as your father said, we are going and greet all the clans in the underworld, while we also have another task. Rachel, what task? Haoh, finding me peerage members. Rachel, and what does that have to do with me? Rachel, just so you know, I'm against peerage that uses their members, especially girls, for sexual stuff. Haoh wanted to answer her, but something clicked on him. Haoh, wait, you mean there are peerages that use guys as well for that reason? The horror on his face became visible while Rachel thought that was what you got caught on. After doing some Kama Sutra positions with his girls in his mind to wipe that filthy thought, he turned towards Rachel. Haoh, while I don't know if any of my peerages will accept to do that, and I won't say no as I am a man. Rachel, pervert. Haoh, thanks for the praise. Haoh, anyway. Do you wish to join? Haoh, if you do, your father won't have any problems for you to travel around, as he can guarantee my strength is above him, and you can also visit him in his lab without fear. Rachel wanted to retort that her father was stronger, but the two benefits that she longed for stopped her. Not only that, but she could tell Sertsks and Ajuka were very respectful to him to act as guards and guide him around. She is not the smartest, but she can tell that much. Rachel, are you sure he will let me? Haoh, 100% sure. Haoh, but he will rain a few curses on me verbally. Rachel chuckled at his words and thought about it, as the evil pieces were created by him, so he must know ways to protect her and even remove them. Rachel, can I go to school as well? Haoh, we can try to arrange it. The student president will be present at the youth meeting, so we can ask her. Rachel, and she will listen? Haoh, well, she is one of my wives. Rachel was speechless, seeing him scratch his cheeks without a shame, and finally relentless, but still asked one last question. Rachel, you will not force me into that sexual stuff? Haoh, while I'm not a good guy, I'm not bad either. Rachel, what's that supposed to mean? Haoh, it means that if you don't do something that harms me or those around me, then I won't force anything on you. Haoh, in simpler words, I have and know my bottom line. Chapter 226, Chapter 226, The 72 Clans. 9. After thinking long and hard, which was not her forte, she agreed hesitantly, and Haoh took out his second bishop piece. "Haoh, do you, Rachel asked Roth, wish to serve as my bishop?" "Rachel? Why yes." Haoh flared his magic power as a unique crest appeared in green color under his feet, and the bishop piece flew and entered in the chest of Rachel, who felt her powers growing. She closed her eyes to feel everything and was stunned by how powerful her magic value became. Moments later she opened her eyes and suddenly her face paled, seeing two figures behind Haoh. "Haoh, see, I didn't tempt her." "Haoh, neither I tricked her or bullshitted my way to get her." "Haoh, I simply asked her while telling the truth." Surtsk smiled wryly while Ajoka, seeing the pale face of his daughter, sighed and went to hug her but didn't say anything while patting her back. Only when they separated he said to her, "Ajoka, be a good girl out there. Ajoka, have tons of fun and make friends. Ajoka, I hate to admit but going under the sky is the safest for you to see what the world has to offer. Ajoka, oh. And bring souvenirs when you visit me at my lab." Rachel's eyes started tearing up, but before she could say something someone interrupted them, which earned him a kick from her in his feet. "Haoh, hey, why are you talking as if she is going far away? Haoh, isn't she coming with us in the next Caln and the rest of the tour? Haoh, hurry up Ow! What was that for?" Haoh started bickering with Rachel before they eventually calmed down and let her prepare her staffs to leave. An hour later they continue their trip to Berith, Renov, Bune clans, making the eyes of Rachel spark with excitement. However, what welcomed them was endless ruins. There was not even one person here, shocking Haoh but not the others. "Haoh, what happened here?" "Ajoka, this place is where the Bune clan once existed before completely perishing." "Surtsks, the weird thing is that the main building is locked as there is no one with the Bune blood living anymore to open it. Danta, otherwise the spoils here would have been divided to the other clans." "Haoh, that can't be." "Haoh, my master told me that there are 72 clans active, which mean there should be a heir to the family." "Ajoka, are you sure?" "Haoh, positively. Otherwise, the barrier would have ceased to be active." "Haoh, as you said, it recognizes those with Bune blood, and since it is active it means someone out there unknowingly is from this family." "Surtsks, did they secretly send babies before they got annihilated to safety in different locations?" "Ajoka, if that is the case I can try to locate them through their bloodline, as I have the data and DNA from most of them." "Haoh, so getting her to my peerage will be put on hold for now." "Rachel, how do you know it's a she and not he?" "Haoh, simple, because girls have a higher chance to get first a boyfriend than the other way around." "Haoh, meaning that if a girl asks a guy directly with no feelings to make it, the other party will accept, while if the opposite happens the guy must pay with some sort of benefits unless they truly fall in love." "Haoh, therefore whether it's one survivor or more, the majority if not all are definitely girls." Chapter 227, Chapter 227, The 72 Clans. 10. "Haoh, of course it also depends on who she was raised with." "Haoh, and it has been so many years since the Great War, and whoever survived after so many generations don't know she or he belongs to a clan." "Ajoka, that is possible." "Surtsks, their descendants is it?" "Haoh, yes, correct." "Haoh, anyway let's continue." Reaching the next clan, called Glaciolabalas, Surtsks cringed. As they reached inside, guided by the guards, a girl came out and greet them. "Greeting to the Tummas. My name is Ariana Glaciolabalas." Ariana is a buxom, young girl with long, dark blue hair that reaches down to the backs of her knees, with two bangs that cover both her eyes. Wearing a light purple bandana with a white diamond-shaped patch on it, as well as black boots in addition to her normal school uniform. "Surtsks, ah. Ariana, how are you? Is everyone inside?" "Ariana, only my sister has returned. Is it about the matter with ICAs?" "Surtsks, no, I had already cancelled that, didn't I?" "Surtsks, I'm here to show this young friend around in every clan of the underworld. Surtsks proceeded to explain their task of getting him familiar around while also looking for potential peerage members for him. As they had found a way to make a half-human, half-dragon to gain a peerage with Ajoka's help, making everyone except Harmonia Andres, Danta Dantalion, and Rachel be shocked. Which was Ariana, Discua, and Lucrezia. However, what Surtsks said next shocked everyone, including those that didn't get shocked before. Surtsks, while also possessing a sacred gear and has a few wives through it, which one of them is Ophis and Great Red. Deadly silence. Their mouths had opened wide as not even Danta knew that. Surtsks turned to Haoh a while later and spoke up. Surtsks, I shouldn't have told them that, right? Haoh, honestly it wasn't like I was hiding it, they would have met later on eventually. It seems like it's fate of us to meet here. Just as Haoh finished speaking, another voice was heard and they all turned around to see who it was. Ariana, Iriaka. Iriaka Glaciolabalas appears as a beautiful young woman with exceptionally elegant and grace, and a pair of huge breasts unnaturally large for someone who looked roughly 24 years old. She now wears a borderline black/brown skin-tight bodysuit that shows off her curves just perfectly. She wears patches of black armor on the important places of her body. Her outfit is completed by her high-heeled boots. She has several golden decorations adorning her hair, clothes, and even flats out pure gold jewelry. The more notable and beautiful things on her are her left eye turning ruby red, her left arm growing crow feathers. She had a deep breathtaking beauty, making Haoh look at her for several seconds, causing her to chuckle. Iriaka, I believe you wanted to take me as your wife, didn't you? Everyone looked at Haoh, who was now confused, but a few moments later he had an epiphany, recalling what she said when she entered. Haoh, you are Morrigan's flesh and soul reincarnation? Haoh, the goddess of fate? Iriaka, to be fair, both of us have fused together for various reasons, but we can still interact separately. Haoh, so two souls in one body? Iriaka, so if you wish to take Morrigan as your wife, you have to take me as well, we count as two in one. Haoh, instead of answering her, turned to Surtsks, who had his jaw down on the ground, and spoke up. Haoh, you were gonna marry your son with a goddess? Chapter 228, Chapter 228, The 72 Clans. 11. Surtsks, no, I didn't know. Surtsks, more like she is completely different than the last time I saw her and arranged the marriage. Iriaka, well, I can't blame him. Initially, I was a slim and short girl with long silver hair, partially tied into braids on my sides, and a pair of grayish blue eyes, resembling a calm cloudy sky. Haoh, I see. Haoh, so what, is any of you three interested in joining my peerage? Ariana, I am. Ariana, having the power to fight Ophis and Great Red means you are strong. Ariana, that means that those in your peerage will have no limit as long as you continue to become stronger. Haoh, I'm glad you like to be enthusiastic. Haoh, what about you? Iriaka, we have no wish to join your peerage, but we are interested in your sacred gear. Iriaka, normally I would have asked for something in return, but I believe both of us will benefit. Iriaka, first of all, I can't see your fate at all. Iriaka, and I took notice of you when you awakened your gear. Haoh, so you've been stalking me for months? Iriaka, as much we would like to do that, we can't. I was cut off. Your gear has the power to counter gods and goddesses as you did with Ophis and Great Red. Haoh, that's something I didn't know about. Iriaka, really? Haoh, yet I didn't. Iriaka, anyway, we wish to take a gamble. And that is watching how our fate connects us. Iriaka, one of the reasons we fused was because I as Morrigan had no real body and could only exist as a ghost, maybe. Haoh, isn't ethereal more appropriate? Iriaka, true. Iriaka, if our fate perfectly blends us together, then I can use this and be reborn when you two conceive a child in the future. Haoh, so that's why you said both of us will benefit. Haoh, because in the end, it would be like screwing both of you at the same time. Irayaka, chuckle. Ho, however it seems you still underestimate my sacred gear's powers. Irayaka, there is no way I have miscalculated and underestimate your power. Ho, $10 you are gonna eat your words. Irayaka, you know demons don't use dollars here in the underworld, right? Ho, I know, but it's cliché. Ho, however which one of you is going to kill me? Irayaka, what do you mean? Ho, my gear works by either willingly accepting to be my wife and it binds you as light pillar, while if you kill me it forcefully binds you as darkness pillar. Ho, right, both the pillars are in harmony and I don't want to break that, so one of you must kill me. Irayaka, then I Morrigan accept to be yours. DxD, hidden quest completed. Bind a goddess. Repeatable, rewards, 200.000 pervert points, 25% stats up. Just as she spoke, his system instantly sent him a message, and before he could savor it, Irayaka herself appeared in front of him and stabbed him with her spear. DxD, hidden quest completed. Bind a goddess. Repeatable, rewards, 200.000 pervert points, 25% stats up. A second message popped up before time froze, shocking Irayaka as she was unable to move while something out of their mind happened. From her body light burst out and a figure was expelled, making it stop a few meters away. Morrigan, what? Morrigan, that's impossible. Morrigan wasn't the only one shocked and stunned, but Irayaka was in the same state while she desperately tried to move. They then saw Haoh, who was on the ground, slowly heal and waking up as he groaned. Haoh, god damn it, no matter how many times I died through death I can't get used to it at all. Chapter 229, Chapter 229, The 72 Clans. 12. Haoh, you still can't move? Irayaka, you are joking, right? Haoh, no I'm not. Either by forcefully biting or willingly gets bound to my gear in order to move in the frozen space that in here is 2 hours while outside a split second. Haoh, you need to accept the fact that now you belong to me and must eventually do your work as my wife in bed. Irayaka frowned for a bit before relaxing and thinking about his words, and while she reviewed them she noticed quickly that she can move. DxD, showing stats. Name, Haoh Yorion. Age, 16, 26. Health, 10.368.000 x 25% x 25% equals 16.200.000. Magic, 10.368.000 x 25% equals 16.200.000. Power, 412.358 x 25% equals 644.309, refined 50%. Speed, 412.358 x 25% equals 644.309, refined 50%. Defense, 412.358 x 25% equals 644.309, refined 50%. Sacred Gear, Hikari Tayami number 32 no Hashira, 32 Pillars of Light and Darkness. Balance Breaker, Multi-Pillar Cosmos. Sacred Gear, Boosted Gear. Balance Breaker, Pillar Armor. Darkness Pillar. 1. Rain Array, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 4 Wings /MV 990.000. 2. Konako Tajao, Scale 2 Peak Nikomata /Devil, First Stage Sage /MV 990.000. 3. Middled, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 2 Wings /MV 490.000. 4. Kala Warner, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 2 Wings /MV 495.000. 5. Zenobia Quarta, Scale 3 Low Brave Saints /MV 160.000. 6. Kateria Leviathan, Scale 6 Low Muas /MV 5.050.000. 7. Ingvilt Leviathan, Scale 6 Lomu/MV 5.300.000. 8. Ophis, Scale 9 Dragon God/MV Infinite. 9. Great Red, Scale 9 Dargon God/MV Infinite. 10. Lucrezia Andres, Scale 4 Peak High Class Devil/MV 1.970.000. 11. Iriaca Glaciolabilas, Low Scale 8/MV 13.000.000. Light Pillar. 1. Rias Gremory, Eris, Fiancé, Scale 4 Mid High Class Devil/MV 1.450.000. 2. Sana Citri, Eris, Fiancé, Scale 4 Mid High Class Devil/MV 1.430.000. 3. Ross Weiss, 5th Stage Valkyrie/MV 10.368.000. 4. Akenoheim Jima, Scale 2 Peak Devil/Fallen Angel/MV 990.000. 5. Seraphal Leviathan, Scale 6 Lomu/MV 6.200.000. 6. Graphia Lucifuge, Scale 6 Lomu/MV 5.250.000. 7. Irina Shadu, Scale 3 Low Brave Saints/MV 140.000. 8. Gabriel, Scale 6 Low 4 Great Seraphs/MV 5.050.000. 9. Shijun Nanaderu, Scale 5 Peak Sage/MV 1.000.000. 10. Danta Lion, Mid Scale 6/MV 7.000.000. 11. Morrigan, Low Scale 8/MV 13.000.000. Money, 93.600 Cash/Pervert Points, 940.000. Haoh saw that his stats increased wildly, reaching mid-scale 8, which means he is on par with mid-gods. He now has 22 pillars, out of which, Graphia, Seraphal, Sana, Rias, Akeno, Konako, Danta, Morrigan, Iriaca, Lucrezia, Kateria and Ingvilt. Only 10 of his 16 spaces are occupied, and he can send inside 6 more people. He snapped his fingers and Morrigan with Iriaca vanished, appearing in a place full of darkness before it started molding to their desires. In Morrigan's case, it was a mountain that had rivers here and there, and from the rivers, she could feel the fates of those bound to Haoh. There were 2 more that she found, one of Iriaca and one hers. In Iriaca's case, she was on a large compound area created with weapons as if she was ready for war, while at the same time there were many scrolls with names that belonged to Haoh's bounded girls. She even found hers and Morrigan's. Moments later they were withdrawn outside. Chapter 230, Chapter 230, The 72 Clans. 13. Haoh, judging by your faces, the inside of my gear was quite nice. Haoh, Morrigan, your body looks more solid now. With his words, Morrigan snapped back to her senses and looked at her body, and true to his words, her ethereal one was more condensed. Haoh, which means my gear will eventually help you form your body. Now, ignoring the 2 of them, Haoh turned to Ariana, who was pouting and started to get angry that she was ignored for quite some time. Ariana, about time to remember me. Ariana, since my sister chooses not to get in your peerage, I will enter. Haoh took out his rook piece and asked her if she wants to serve him, while she accepted. His magic circle flared up while the rook piece entered her chest. Having wasted quite some time here, they all moved out to cover as many clans before returning to Gremory to rest and then continue on the last day. They passed through Nabrias, Aim, Ipos, Marux, Person, Salos, Bathan, Botus, Zapar, Eligos, Laraj, Ballet and Citri clan as their last stop, and unfortunately all the girls already had their own peerage. But Haoh didn't mind, as there are still 11 more clans that they will cover tomorrow. Time passed and soon morning came, and everyone was ready for their trip to the last clan remaining for the tour, which would make Haoh complete one more quest. They passed Gajan, Buer and stopped at Paimon as a beautiful escort came to welcome them. It was an extremely beautiful young woman with thigh-long deep blue hair with locks dangling from each side of her head, piercing yellow eyes, fair skin, and measurements similar to Rias. She's also slightly taller and wears bat-shaped clip hair on the left side of her head. What surprised Haoh was that he knows her as she is the fifth prettiest girl in the whole Haoh Academy, only under Rias, Akeno, Sana, and Tsubaki. Lucille. Lucille is Lucille Paimon. Greetings. Sirtsks, don't worry, we are touring around. Haoh, I didn't expect someone from the same academy to be here. Lucille. Lucille is glad that she meets a fellow classmate. Haoh, do you have peerage or planning to join one? Lucille. Lucille was planning to get her own pieces. Is classmate searching for members? Haoh, that is indeed what I'm doing as I'm touring around. Haoh, I have a queen, 2 ex-bishops, knight, rook, pawn. Lucille, I guess I could join as a pawn. Lucille, is classmate going to take part in the youth meeting? Haoh, that I would do. So would you like to follow me? Lucille, then Lucille will do just that. After going through the ritual, Haoh gained another peerage member while they continued their trip towards Barbados, Aman, Valifor and stopped at Marbus. Haoh was shocked as he entered inside and looked around only to see a figure training, and her speed was no joke. She is a beautiful 16-year-old girl with milky white skin, green eyes, and smooth, orangish blonde hair reaching the middle of her back. For her short height, Haoh noted that she had a very curvy physique with slender limbs. Haoh, is everyone inside? He, we have guests. Greetings, my name is Sylvia Marbus. A pleasure to meet you. Haoh, hello there, my name is Haoh. Haoh, we are here to look around and if possible find any who is interested to enter my peerage. Sylvia, peerage? I'll join. Let me join. Looking at her sparkling eyes, Haoh and the rest thought what an easygoing and happy kid, but they were interrupted when another voice resounded. What's all this fuss? Sylvia, Lucina Onisama. Sylvia runs to her as she made an appearance for everyone to see her looks. Lucina is a beautiful 17-year-old girl with white skin, ice blue eyes, and waist-length golden blonde hair. She is fairly tall, lean, and has a remarkably voluptuous figure. Her appearance made everyone think that she is similar to Vali. Chapter 231, Chapter 231, The 72 Clans. Final. Sylvia, Lucina Onisama, that person is looking for members for his peerage. Lucina, oh? A peerage you say? Haoh, that's right. I'm looking for knight, rook and 6 pawns. Lucina, so that means you have 7 members so far. Are those the girls behind you? Haoh, that's right. Haoh, I toured around the clans and asked them to become my peerage. Some seemed interested, others wanted to become stronger. Lucina, sigh. Don't you know that as the king you must be strong for others to follow you? Lucina, what are your dreams for your peerage? A few chuckled while Haoh thought seriously about this. Well, technically he wanted a peerage to add more girls to his harem, which they will join sooner or later. But becoming the strongest among other peerage teams doesn't sound so bad. Haoh, well, mostly have fun as I wish for my peerage at least most if not all of them to eventually join my wives' rank. Haoh, but as my wives, you can't be weak while I grow stronger. Haoh, so sweeping the whole world and becoming the strongest isn't that bad. Lucina, in other words a harem. Lucina, however the strongest. Hey. Lucina, for that, you would have to prove that you are stronger than both of us. Haoh smiled at Lucina's declaration, and she truly resembled Vali in their ideals of being the strongest and go where it seems more fun for them. Haoh directly flared his magic, making everyone, even the miss, kneeled on the ground, while those that were weaker directly crash with their faces on the ground, and that included Lucina and Sylvia, who were breathing heavily while they were shocked. It was apparent from their eyes being wide open. A few seconds later the pressure vanished, making everyone take a deep breath, while Surtsk and Ajilka vowed not to mess with him in the future at all cost. While those bound to him either with his gear or as his peerage thought to his words becoming the strongest wives. Ho, ha ha ha, I put too much into it. Ho, you remind me of Vala, which always goes around challenging people, and as I had trashed him badly in the past I kind of overdid it now. Lucina, you know Vala? Lucina was stunned thrice today, first his declaration, second his crazy magic power, and now this. Ho, I do know him, he tried to challenge me while joining a criminal organization. Ho, the result of that was him eating soil and stayed down. Ho, Surtsk and Ajilka were there so they can test to what I said are true or false. Seeing them nodded, Lucina frowned as she knew Vala as a kid and knew how much she hated their grandparent. Ho, anyway, are you two going to join? Lucina, sure. The strongest, hey? I wish to see the face of Vala as I've surpassed him while playing the good cop bad cop. Sylvia, yet. It will be fun. Ho took out the knight and rook piece and granted the knight to Lucina and the rook to Sylvia. After finishing their power up and feeling the changes that occurred to them, they all left, going for the last for clans. Gamajan, Vasago, Agars and Bale. They spent a lot of time in these four, especially the one that is in the first position, before returning back. This time it was quicker as they took shortcuts, and as they reached the Astaroth clan and were about to pass them, an angry voice resounded and stopped them in their tracks. Hey! Wait! Ajilka, Latia, what's wrong? Why so angry? Latia, can I join your peerage? Ho, how come? Latia, those old farts from the branch family of the Astaroth house wants to get me engaged. Latia, either that or join someone's peerage. Chapter 232, Chapter 232, Power Up. Ho, not to be rude, but you do know that pretty much the girls in my peerage have that kind of relationship, right? Latia, Uncle told me what kind of person you are. Latia, I would rather join your peerage knowing that instead of being used as a tool for political marriage. Ho, sure, I don't mind, but I only have pawn pieces left. Ho, furthermore, meet my peerage. Ho, Danta Dantalion, who is my queen. And we have that kind of relationship. Ho, Discua Andres and Sylvia Marbus are my knights, and similarly in that kind of thing. Ho, while Harmonia Andres and Rachel Astroth are both my bishops. Ho, Harmonia is also treated towards that, but Rachel is not. Ho, Ariana Glaciolabalas and Lucina Lucifer are my rook, while both of them are interested in that. Ho, Lucrezia Andres is my pawn and is more complicated, but she is fine with that. Latia, in other words, apart from Rachel, everyone else is fine being with you? Rachel, what does this and that mean? Everyone looked at Rachel and almost facepalmed themselves before Ho straight up spoke up, making her red in her face while making her retort. Ho, it means that everyone is fine being with me doing sexual stuff. In other words, have sex. Rachel, wwwhh. Pervert. Everyone ignored her while Ho turned to look at Latia, who was frowning and pondering about the pros and cons. She knew what pawns are capable of, furthermore what Ho has are mutated ones and unique in their ways. Perhaps she won't lose out. Latia, fine, I'll join as your pawn, but similar to Rachel, I won't be in that relationship with you. Ho nodded as he believes that no matter how many years passes, their bodies will be his to taste and milk all over their bodies. In the end, he will be the winner. After granting her the pawn piece and feeling her power slightly increase even with the pawn piece, she was stunned slightly. As they returned back to Gremory, Ho got a notification showing him the completion of his quest, making him even stronger than before, while his pieces also got a boost, shocking them. DxD, quest completed. Go on a tour towards the 72 pillars and the various powerhouses in the underworld. Rewards, 100.000 pervert points, 25% stats up. Ho was also stunned as when he completed the quest of binding a goddess, those already in his peerage didn't get a power up. And last time he got a major boost from binding not one but two goddesses. DxD, it's because those power UPS came from binding goddesses and only the host could benefit, however from other powers up through different quests that are not involving goddesses, the pieces would get a bit power up as well. That is what his system answered when he asked, surprising him even more. Latia and Rachel watched as the other girls surrounded him and barraged him with questions and felt out of it. Looking at each other they bonded really quickly. After resting for the night with Haoh getting a few wet rubbing with his hands as he slept with his peerage except Latia and Rachel who were in a different room. Morning came. The Youth Devil Gathering, also known as the Young Devil Mixer, was originally a gathering of the Young Devil heirs of 72 pillars directed by the original Satan clans as a pretext, in order for them to showcase and assert their dominance over the 72 pillars. After the Devil Civil War, the new four great Satans reformed the practice into a more common gathering between the Young Devil heirs. Surtsks and Ajoka came to call everyone along with Haoh as they had registered him at the last second. Chapter 233, Chapter 233, The Gathering. In the capital of Lucifaad, everyone was slowly gathering and introducing themselves from every clan among the 72 pillars and smaller ones that were affiliated with them. The members of the Rias Gremaris peerage attended the gathering of young devils as she went on and introduced members to those that didn't know them. Haoh was also seeing many of the clans he visited these last few days and many were shocked when they saw his peerage that appeared with them. Irene Dantalion came forward and greeted Danta, who was her foster mother it seems and not her real daughter, as they lived together. Graphia appeared with two girls, one younger and one older, that seemed similar to her, and as she saw Haoh she walked towards him, surprising many. "Haoh, Graphia, how come you came to me first?" "Graphia, isn't it natural to greet your husband first?" Many were shocked, but others knew already, as Surtsks had already spread it and made them talk about it with each other. "Graphia, these two are my nieces from the Seal clan." "Graphia, I needed them for something, causing them to miss them as you passed their clan, according to Surtsks." "Haoh, no wonder I missed them." "Haoh, so is there something going on?" "Graphia, name yourselves." "Greetings, I'm Lucia Lucifuge." Lucia is a beautiful young woman the same age as Rias and Akeno, along with long silver hair passing by her back and red eyes. She has a buxom figure that can match Rias. "My name is Lucina Lucifig, the younger sister of Lucia and the queen of Serafil Sama." She is a beautiful 17-year-old young woman with long silver hair and red eyes, as well as being described as being the teenage version of Graphia. "Haoh, greetings, my name is Haoh Yorion." "Graphia, now that the introduction is out, would you be interested in taking Lucia to your peerage?" "Haoh, I would love to, but everyone except two of my peerages is somewhat similar to us." Lucia and Lucina looked at him in confusion, but Graphia caught the meaning behind his words and smiled before speaking once again. "Graphia, I see. Graphia, how many pieces do you have left?" "Haoh, I only have 6 pawns left." "Graphia, you sure didn't waste time." "Haoh, well, they wanted a reason to escape various restraints, so they complied rather easily." Seeing that Graphia didn't talk any more about joining his peerage, Lucina became curious now for the reason she was kinda rejected. Although she is more laid back and direct than her younger sister, choosing to not either join a peerage, lead a peerage, preferring to remain a free spirit and preferring to hang out with friends and explore the human world without informing neither her sister nor Graphia. However, she got curious when her aunt talked about a certain person with fervor and praises which usually don't happen often. "Lucia, Anno, why is it that both of you directly flang the idea of me joining?" "Lucia, although I never planned to join any or creating one and only came here as aunt told us to come." "Haoh, you got curious?" Lucia couldn't help but nod at his words, making Haoh and Graphia sigh at the same time while Haoh spoke up, shocking the two. Not just them but everyone who listened to them talking. "Haoh, everyone except 2 members of my peerage are my lovers and wives at the same time." "Haoh, along with Rias, Sana, Serafal, Graphia, and a few others." Gasped and loud exclamations were heard, and instantly his words reverberated in the entire meeting as he got countless hated gazes. Chapter 234, Chapter 234, The Gathering. 2. Lucia and Lucina had their jaws almost dropped to the ground while their eyes were wide open, and not just them but everyone who heard him. Especially when they heard the name of Seraphal and Graphia. The two poor girls looked directly towards their aunt, who smiled at them while staying quiet. Lucia now stared at Haoh with a complicated expression on her face. It would be a lie to say that her attention wasn't drawn after the bomb that was fired away by him. After finishing their greetings and was relaxing, Haoh was preached by someone unexpected as Graphia took Lucia and Lucina back. He recognizes her as with Ravel Phoenix, the sister of Riser Phoenix, as the two chatted before Ravel was called by Isabella to talk to a friend of Lord Phoenix. Then following that, various members of his peerage started introducing themselves to him. Haoh then notices Issei and the rest talking with a few others members of Riser before Sana came along and had a talk with them. Just before the Satans could give their greetings, Haoh noticed Konako storming out of the party venue as Issei moved to follow her, with Rias following after him due to seeing him leave. The two tailed Konako, as she was reunited with her sister Kurika. As Kurika and her teammate, Baikao were on standby in the underworld and became curious about the party, so Kurika sent her familiar to investigate it. While Baikao wanted to leave due to not having anything to do, Kurika wanted to see how Konako was doing and was surprised at how strong she was. At least compared to before. After cuddling with each other and with Baikao, Rias, and Issei on the lookout, the two sisters started talking about various things. Meanwhile, in the party, Odin, the Norse chief god, arrives with Berrakil as his bodyguards. As things were going good, during the peace signing, another Norse god, Loki the evil god of Norse, arrives and berates Odin for his actions to form an alliance with the devils. This ended up him summoning his son, Fenrir, to disrupt the contract signing. Everyone was alarmed by this, and those in the party was scared, feeling such a huge amount of magic being emitted. Even Kurika, Baikao, Konako, Rias, and Issei were shocked, and the latter three rushed back inside to see what was happening as they met with Gasper, Asia, Kaiba and Akeno. At the party hall, Fenrir starts to run amok, destroying the surrounding, attacking Asia, Gasper, Akeno, and Kaiba before Ajuka casts a protection spell and deflected his attack. However, at that moment, Haoh, who was pissed off, flared his magic power at maximum value, who was at 20.250.000 million, making Fenrir stop on its track and everyone look at him. Haoh, little Loki, it can't be that you wish to be on my bad side, right? Right? Loki sweated bullets while Fenrir plops down with its ears and tail sulking while completely terrified to make a move. Loki, you! What are you doing here? Haoh, I'm relaxing with my peerage and wives while I'm also thinking of participating. Haoh, my girls, that is. Loki, you? Does a lowly human have a peerage? Haoh, technically I'm half a human, half a dragon, and yes, my peerage. Haoh, Ajuka, invented a way and it's in an experimental stage. Loki, bah ha 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 ha, that was a good joke, kid. Loki, I hate to say you have a magic power that rivals God's, but can you kill me? Loki started arrogantly laughing as he realized that Haoh only had magic power and didn't give a shit about the rest. He was dead set on disrupting this meeting as its true face was about a peace treaty. Unfortunately for him, he fuck up. Chapter 235, Chapter 235, The Gathering. 3. Era? Then since he can't kill you as you say, do you wish for me to see your fate? Giggle, better yet, should I kill you? Loki's face changed various colors, and he wasn't the only one. Odin did as well when they both recognized instantly the voice that emerged sideways of Haoh. The most mysterious and dangerous goddess of all time. Morrigan. Loki, why oh www here? Loki completely lost it and he couldn't hide it. The reputation of Morrigan was the worst and worst, as none wanted to mess with her. Morrigan, why you say? It's because this guy courted me. Everyone who knew her, and that entailed Loki, Odin, and some of the leaders of the factions that were there, were shocked beyond their words. Loki, you weren't joking when you added her name to your list? Oh, did I ever joke in front of all those gods and goddess? Odin, bah ha 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 ha. As expected of someone being an apprentice to your master. Odin, Loki, it's over. Your attempts to fuck us over have been poorly ended. Odin, as the chief deity of Norse mythology and leader of the gods in Asgard. Odin, I'm banishing you permanently from Asgard. Shock and disbelief were all over Loki's face as he couldn't believe what he heard. Odin, you think I don't know you colluded with the Cows Brigade to come here and interrupt the talks for peace? Odin, by doing that you have already become a criminal and now you are officially R1. Ho, so does that mean that his fate is up to whether he survives and how he ends up as? Odin, correct. Ho, good. Then, Ho vanished from his position and appeared in front of Loki before stabbing his right hand through his heart and his left hand through his neck, effectively severing his head. Ho, AI, you were one of the gods that wanted to kill me back then. Ho, furthermore, you attacked a gathering with most of my wives gathered here. Loki, Gah. Loki couldn't speak as his heart was pierced and so was his neck, choking him with his own blood, and fear was visible in his eyes as Morrigan smiled teasingly at him. The pure magic flowing in his body by Hoah's hand made him unable to do anything and soon enough completely shred him to pieces and then evaporated him. Ho, now, what to do with you? After evaporating Loki, Ho looked at Fenrir, who was still in a dogza position, afraid to do anything at all. Just as he was deciding his course of action, a magic circle flared and a few guests appeared. It was Vali, Arthur, Baikau, Le Fei, and Kurika. Vali, so we meet again. Ho, that we do, but compare to the past I'm more powerful than you now. Vali, sigh. Don't remind me. I had doubled my efforts in training and then I learned you survived against Off-Eyes and Great Red. Vali, then I tripled my efforts and I still can't reach you. Ho, well this will make you more motivated I guess. Ho, plus I believe soon I might hit my limit. Ho wasn't lying, as there were 32 pillars and he got 10 spots left, and only Goddess gives him a boost now, or various important quests. Such as the one of killing Loki, completing the quest he had about the gathering. Vali, wait, you mean you hadn't hit your limit yet? Vali, wait, don't answer, I want to find how strong you are when you actually hit it. Ho, sure, so how long are you gonna stay here? Take Fenrir with you and leave. Ho, isn't that why you appeared now? Chapter 236, Chapter 236, The Gathering. 4. Vali, are you sure it would be wise to let us escape like that? Ho, it won't matter, as you are now. Even if you go berserk in the Juggernaut drive you will still not be able to beat me. Ho, on another note, Kurika. Konako will soon surpass you, aren't you going to join her? Ho, she is almost a high-class devil and with a little push here and there she will reach your level, and the only thing to separate both of you would be Kurika, my experience Naya. Kuriko looked at Konako, who had glittering eyes full of hope of rejoining with her sister in her daily life, and it would be a lie to say that it didn't hurt her. Le Fei, if Kurika joins your gear I want to join as well. Kurika smiled and her tail's waves left and right as she held her chest upwards and licked her lips. Kurika, sure Naya. I would love to have a strong mate Naya. Kurika, last time you were too weak Naya. Kurika, now you fit the bill for kittens Naya. Ho smiled as he knew Kurika was like that, always searching for a strong person to create many kittens, and originally she was entranced by Issei's kindness to help them bond together. Otherwise, she would still be searching for someone. Ho, then Kurika, do you wish to be the same with Konako or different? Kurika, what do you mean Naya? Ho, you remember her mark right? Do you want black or white? Kurika, I want black the same. Ho, then attack me with a lethal attack. Everyone almost collapsed on the floor when they heard this, while Kurika smiled in a devilish manner while her eyes glowed dangerously. She has been keeping tabs on him for playing with her sweet little sister and granted his wish as she charged forward. Then without effort, her hand passed through his chest, killing him in the process. Time stopped while Kurika froze in a stabbing position with her eyes open wide, but remembering how they had talked about his gear, she focused on him. She could also see some of his girls able to move around. Specifically, Konako came forward and placed Haoh on the ground before his wounds started healing rapidly within 2-3 seconds. Haoh, ugh. I hate dying, but oh well. I got a bombshell, horny babe. Bang. Haoh, ouch. Konako, what are you doing? Konako, don't call my big sister horny babe. Haoh, and you had to attack me and restrict your movement for that? Konako, call her cat in heat. Haoh, underscore. Kurika, underscore. Haoh, sigh. Kurika, think deeply that now you belong to me, and while accepting that you would be able to move. It wasn't long she regained her movement and time moved normally, as Haoh didn't want to stay here for the full duration. Everyone saw how Haoh got pierced, but now a split second later it was as if he was teleported and healed himself. Haoh, since Kurika joined Le Fei, does that mean you wished to as well? Le Fei nodded to him and Haoh gained 2 system notifications that he gained a darkness and light pillar, bringing him closer to his goal. Le Fei, yet. On Vala's side, Baikao talked with Arthur about his sister. Baikao, was it alright to make her accept? Arthur, obviously not. But it's one of the few times I'm seeing her this happy. Arthur, as her brother, I need to support her. Arthur, furthermore I haven't heard any bad news from him since the last time Le Fei mentioned him on her mission with Kurika. Chapter 237, Chapter 238, Returning. With Loki dead and with Haoh binding Kurika and Le Fei, everything returned to normal except for the fact that many, including Sarayorg, who has now gained interest in a few individuals, proposed to everyone to a rating game soon, with the title of number 1 on the line. On the last day of the summer holiday, Rias prepares to leave the underworld, saddening her nephew over her departure as Grafia reprimands her son. Although it wasn't hers, she felt like it belongs to her. Rias then boards the train after saying goodbye to her family. On the train back to the human world, Konako lies over Haoh's lap while Asia lies on Issei's lap, as both of them says that is where she feels most comfortable. When they returned, Haoh summoned everyone connected to him and now they all were sitting in the living room in his house. He started explaining the powers of each other, shocking them in the process, especially Sorainare. Heck, Ross Weiss felt she could crush anyone there with the power she could wield as a Valkyrie. As she has power equal to the one she serves, and as that is Haoh, her magic value almost equals to his. With the exception of Off-Eyes and Great Red, the rest decided to train seriously for the rating game. Therefore Rias, Sana, Akeno, Konako, Rainare, Middled, Kala Warner decided to train inside his gear, and excluding the first 4 as they have their peerage, the rest will continue to train until they match the others. On the other hand, Irina, Zenobia, and Shijun asked to join his peerage, and after thinking for a bit but not before telling them that he only has pawns left, he agreed. This made their powers skyrocket when he fused the pieces in their souls, but was still not enough. Now he has 8 spots of his pillars and 3 spots for his peerage. Meaning he can only bind 11 more girls. And he has like 100 more in his minds, especially so since he paid attention to so many goddesses. Sigh, how did he reach this point? He had thought 32 and 15 pillars and pieces would be enough, but his pants want more. He must obviously get Athena, Nyx, Amaterasu, and Tsukuyomi are the 4 top goddesses he needs to focus on now. Then he must have seek Vera Agars as his wife that MILF cannot escape. Which would then leave him with 3 spots in his gear. If he achieves this, then he can take Yasaka and Kunu, leaving him with 1 spot open. And even though he believes he could have like 50 more spots if possible, technically he has taken all girls a classic DxD Otaku would love to bang every day. As for the last 3 pawns, if things are favorable, he can make Rainare, Middled, and Kala Warner join. As things were going well for the last few days where the second semester started. Haoh, who thought might be fun to join the classes, once again walked home with Issei, talking with Asia as he was making her blush with his antics. On their way back, Asia almost trips and is caught by Diodora, who reveals that he is the devil Asia rescued in the past and proceeds to propose to Asia. Asia, you know. Diodora, would you please think of it? Issei, hey you bastard, Asia is mine. Diodora, yours? A middle-class devil? Haoh watched in amusement as this was the point where Asia's love triangle began that cost her life and Issei losing control originally. But still, even after that happened, Issei didn't bang Asia's pussy. He wondered if this time he can manage to score. Chapter 238, Chapter 237, New Stats. After binding those two, Haoh checked his system and stats to see what he had missed and was gobsmacked by the pure power he can now wield. However, he was soon surprised when a new column on his stats appeared showing him his peerage. Not only that, but as a few were also on his pillars, they gained an increase in magic power thanks to the quests he had completed. DxD, quest completed. Go on a tour towards the 72 pillars and the various powerhouses in the underworld. Rewards, 100.000 pervert points, 25% stats up. DxD, quest completed. Kill anyone who interrupts the discussion. Rewards, 200.000 pervert points, 25% stats up. DxD, showing stats. Name, Haoh Yorion. Age, 16, 26. Health, 16.200.000 x 25% equals 25.312.500. Magic, 16.200.000 x 25% equals 25.312.500. Power, 644.309 x 25% equals 1.006.732, refined 50%. Speed, 644.309 x 25% equals 1.006.732, refined 50%. Defense, 644.309 x 25% equals 1.006.732, refined 50%. Sacred Gear, Hikari Tayami number 32 no Hashira, 32 Pillars of Light and Darkness. Balance Breaker, Multi-Pillar Cosmos. Sacred Gear, Boosted Gear. Balance Breaker, Pillar Armor. Darkness Pillar. 1. Raineray, Scale 3 Peak Fallen Angel, 4 Wings /MV 990.000. 2. Konako Tajao, Scale 4 Peak Nikomata /Devil, First Stage Sage /MV 990.000. 3. Middled, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 2 Wings /MV 490.000. 4. Kala Warner, Scale 2 Peak Fallen Angel, 2 Wings /MV 495.000. 5. Zenobia Quarta, Scale 3 Low Brave Saints /MV 160.000. 6. Kataria Leviathan, Scale 6 Low Muas /MV 5.050.000. 7. Ingvilt Leviathan, Scale 6 Low Muas /MV 5.300.000. 8. Off-Eyes, Scale 9 Dragon God /MV Infinite. 9. Great Red, Scale 9 Dargon God /MV Infinite. 10. Lucrezia Andres, Scale 5 Peak Ultimate Class Devil /MV 1.970.000 x 25% equals 3.780.000. 11. Iriaka Glacia Labelas, Low Scale 8 /MV 13.000.000. 12. Kurika, Scale 4 Peak Nikomata /Devil, 2 ST Stage Sage /MV 1.990.000. Light Pillar. 1. Rias Gremory, Eris, Fiancé, Scale 4 Mid-High Class Devil / MV 1.450.000. 2. Sana Satrai, Heiress, Fiancé, Scale 4 Mid-High Class Devil / MV 1.430.000. 3. Ross Weiss, 5th Stage Valkyrie / MV 25.000.000. 4. Akeno Heimjima, Scale 2 Peak Devil / Fallen Angel / MV 990.000. 5. Sierra Fall Leviathan, Scale 6 Lomua / MV 6.200.000. 6. Graphia Lucifuge, Scale 6 Lomua / MV 5.250.000. 7. Irina Shadu, Scale 3 Low Brave Saints / MV 140.000. 8. Gabriel, Scale 6 Low 4 Great Seraphs / MV 5.050.000. 9. Shijun Nanaderu, Scale 5 Peak Sage / MV 1.000.000. 10. Danta Lion, Low Scale 8 / MV 7.000.000 x 25% x 25% equals 10.937.500. 11. Morrigan, Low Scale 8 / MV 13.000.000. 12. Le Fei Pendragon, Peak Scale 5 Witch Magician / MV 1.990.000. Peerage Members. King equals Haoh Yorion. Queen equals Danta Lion, Low Scale 8 / MV 10.937.500. Bishop x2 equals Harmonia Andres, Peak Scale 5 / MV 3.780.000. Rachel Astroth, Peak Scale 5 / MV 3.780.000. Rook x2 equals Ariana Glaciolabalas, Peak Scale 5 / MV 3.815.000. Lucina Lucifer, Peak Scale 5 / MV 3.999.000. Knight x2 equals Discua Andres, Peak Scale 5 / MV 3.860.000. Sylvia Marbus, Peak Scale 5 / MV 3.750.000. Pawn x8 equals Lucrezia Andres, Peak Scale 5 / MV 3.780.000. Latia Astaroth, Peak Scale 5 / MV 3.980.000. Money, 93.600 cash / pervert points, 1.240.000. He has to say though that his peerage perhaps can really contest for the strongest one in ages, as almost all of them when they were converted with his pieces reached the peak of High Devil. But with the powers up they also gain from the quests they reached peak ultimate class. Heck, Danta reached the levels of low gods. She can probably give Loki a run for his money if he was alive. Chapter 239, Chapter 239, Conflict. Issei, you bastard! Asia is mine. Issei, I may be middle class like you said, but I can sure as hell kick your ass. Diodora started laughing and holding his stomach as this was the biggest joke he had ever heard. A high-class devil like himself lose to a lower class. It took him quite a few seconds to calm himself and wipe the tears from his eyes and notice that Asia wasn't happy at all. Diodora, please excuse my outburst. It's not often that someone tells such a good joke. Diodora, if you so strongly believe so, then I would sadly inform you that I would take Asia based on the rules of the rating game and exchange between kings. Diodora, until then. Diodora vanished from their sight while Issei growled at him as he was looking in the sky, and Asia has a pale face. That night in the Haoh residence, Issei and Asia report their encounter to Rias until Gaspar arrives and tells them that the preparation for the small party is complete. After partying hard and made all their troubles go away. The next day, Issei's class prepares for the sports days and Issei is tricked by Kiryu into joining a three-legged race with Asia. In the afternoon, Issei joins his classmate in their preparations for the sports days as Issei starts practicing with Asia. Issei returned dead tired in his home and fell asleep shortly after, but soon his expression started distorted as he was seen a nightmare. Issei has a dream about Asia marrying Diodora while his parents and friends send her off happily as Issei wakes up due to denial. His whole body sweated thinking that this may never happen and tried to think of ways to use what he had learned in his training. He had reflective magic, defensive magic and recently attacking magic. What he lacked was moving at high speeds. The eerie night passed with Issei not getting much sleep and everyone looked at him having black eyes with Asia started healing him as much as she could. Rias then shows the many invitations sent by Diodora to Asia, claiming that she'll dispose of the invitations while Issei and Asia head out to train for the sports day. This made Issei take his training to the next level and train even harder. Unknown to him that new magic is taking form based on his desires. Later on at the club room, Rias reveals the rating game tournament between the young devils and their first opponent for the tournament, Diodora Astaroth. Rias, this guy seems hell-bent on taking Asia. Akeno, Ara. I say let him come. Rias, that's right, no one forces my peerage to submission. Rias, I just hope he has anything to offer for when he loses. No worries, I do have something to offer. Everyone tensed up as a magic circle flared inside the club room and Diodora appeared looking at everyone in contempt while smiling at Asia. Rias, and what would that be? Rias, you told my pawn that we would bet out bishop to the winner. Diodora, that I did, and it's only fair to trade a bishop with a bishop. Diodora Astaroth offers to trade bishops but soon felt the atmosphere getting colder and colder as Rias was looking to kill him with his glare. It was clear that Rias was displeased at the offer itself. Diodora smiled and said a few words to Rias before proceeding to leave, but not before he attempts to court Asia again, and was stopped by Issei. He insults Issei by calling him a filthy devil, causing Asia to slap Diodora, who proceeds to announce that he will defeat Issei in the next rating game. Chapter 240, Chapter 240, Schemes. Diodora appeared back on his estate and there was someone waiting for him. Judging from what I'm seen, it didn't go well. Neither the exchange or the bet. Diodora, that bitch. Had the gals to slap me in the face. Diodora, gur. Diodora, if it wasn't because I wanted her sacred gear that can heal even devils, I would have long ago killed her and disposed of her. After sitting on his throne and calming down, Diodora finally turned to the one next to him. He had the appearance of a short, bespectacled elderly man with grey hair, a mustache, black eyes, who wore a priest outfit. Diodora, how is the plan with the artificial humans, Valper? Valper, it's going quite well. Valper, thanks to Fried dying on his own somewhere and losing all the fragments that ruined countless of our plans, something good came out of it. Valper, using his DNA we had along with other DNA projects. Valper, we created Lint, a test tube baby from multiple genetic patterns at the Sigurd Institution, who were trying to create the true descendant of Sigurd who can use Gram by gathering those who carry his blood. Valper, this will keep the Gremory peerage busy as she is ready to fight. Valper, we tried to make Sigurd's descendant artificially, to which Lint herself was artificially created. She was made from the same genetics as Fried, making them almost the same person. Valper, at some point, Lint was part of training facilities affiliated with the Church's Warriors Training Institution for a long time. Valper, not to mention that we can cause them infighting as we have Tosca, an old friend of Uedo Kaiba and another survivor of the Church's Holy Sword project. Diodora, with Kaiba being busy with Tosca and the others being busy with Lint, I would have free rein to fight against Issei and Asia. Diodora, and when I win, I will make sure to RATPE that bitch in front of his eyes. Valper, what about Rias Gremory herself? As soon as her name was brought to the table, Diodora frowned as he had felt her powers when refusing and brought him some chills. Not to mention she was the fiancée of that bastard that dominated even a god, killing him instantly. Diodora, it would be for the best if you could delay her but not harm her at all costs. Diodora, I don't need a freaking god in my ass. Valper nodded and proceeded in taking their last measures. On the other hand, Diodora called all his peerage members and soon pained sounds were resounded from the throne room making Valper shake his head. He knew that Diodora's servants previously belonging to the church until Diodora corrupted them and added them into his collection. And he was the only one who knew that deep down those servants exist a deep hatred waited for them to shred Diodora to pieces. However, none of the two had noticed in the ceiling a floating figure there standing and eating popcorn as he watched everything to finish and what followed. Haoh, who was watching a drama movie unfolding, looked as Diodora's small dick violated his peerage, and the worst thing was that since he couldn't please them he started beating them up. Even the fact of aftering small legal nuns couldn't change his misery. After he saw what he could, he left from there and appeared shortly after on the spot Issei was training, scaring the shit out of him as he appeared literally like a ghost. He understood why Offis was silently coming and go, because it's so much fun seeing them pooping their pants. Chapter 241, Chapter 241, The Upcoming Game. After Haoh finished spying on Diodora, he visited directly Surtsks and explained to him the fight that happened between the participants along with the bet. Surtsks and Grafia, both of them frowned, and after some pondering they called a meeting. Projections of Almas along with Azazel, Michael, and Odin appeared in the room of the mole Lucifer. He then started explaining what Haoh saw and what entailed before that. Similarly on Issei's side, as Diodora has left, they had gotten a request which was taken by him and Konako. On the way back from a client's request, Issei and Konako are suddenly confronted by Valia and Kurika, who appeared from a magic circle, and Kurika immediately hugged Konako and started having some mofa time. Valia on the other hand sighed and turned to Issei. Valia, on this raiding game, be careful of Diodora. That guy is no good. Valia, really? You have nothing to say? Valia was stunned. He told Issei to be careful and he just stood there with an okay expression as he already knew that and couldn't help but ask. Issei, thanks for the warning for something that I know, I guess. Issei, but why me? Valia, I tried to search for Haoh but I can't find him either. Kurika, who is bound to him. Issei, I see. After some sisterly love, Konako and Issei returned back and then informs Rias about his encounter with Valia. Back with the meeting of the powerhouses, Azazel warned everyone that since Diodora has the gals to do this, then perhaps he has some strong backing enough to make him not fear the mus. Especially so when Valper was seen with him. Azazel, just the fact that he is preparing to use this match to mess with 3 of Ria's peerage members while getting outside help, maybe we need to prepare for the worst case scenario. Michael, just the fact that they had started again those inhuman projects means they have a terrorist behind their backs. Odin, then which one? Haoh, no need to free now. Haoh, the point here is to start the games and be prepared to see if Diodora has gotten anything to increase his power in exchange for messing with Rias. Haoh, figuring out that will help us determine the group behind them. Haoh, unfortunately though the girls are training little every day in my gear and haven't fully bloomed in terms of power, so someone like Diodora might pose some trouble but not much. Haoh, also I want to know what will happen to those nuns. Michael, I can try and reincarnate them into angels, but I'm not sure how it will fare with the evil pieces they have. Haoh, about that. Haoh, can you make me the Brave Saints set? Ajuka, hey? Why? Haoh, well, first of all I'm human, so I can take it as my soul can go either way. Haoh, second of all, I can remove the evil pieces from their souls, though that will leave them weakened by a large margin. Michelle, sure I can do that. Well, at this point it will be interesting to see what you can pull off. Haoh smiled as when he mentioned the nuns and Michael wanted to try and make them angels he got a quest. DxD, quest triggered. Obtain a Brave Saints set. Rewards, recode. At first, he was puzzled about the rewards, but as he read further about its explanation he almost jumped from where he was sitting. DxD, recode equals an add-on perk on Brave Saints capable to fuse to opposite forces. Azazel, then I will send the invitations right away. Chapter 242, Chapter 242, The Raiding Game. On the day of the raiding game, Rias and her servants teleport to the raiding game field. Rias immediately notices the irregularity of the match, as a group of devils start to emerge from magic circles. Finally, the time for the approximate rating game has arrived and everyone finished their own touches here and there. The teams that participated were Rias Gremory, the heiress of the Gremory clan. She is the younger sister of one of the four great Satans, Surtsk's Lucifer. Sana Citrai, the heiress of the Citrai clan. She is the younger sister of one of the four great Satans, Seraphal Leviathan. Diodora Astaroth, the heir of the Astaroth clan. He is a relative of one of the four great Satans, Ajilka Beelzebub. Zephyr Glaciolabilas, the heir of the Glaciolabilas clan. He is a relative of one of the four great Satans, Falbium Asmodeus. Serayorg Baal, the heir of the Baal clan. He is the son of the current leader of the Great King faction, Lord Baal. Seekvera Agars, the heiress of the Agars clan. She is the daughter of the current Archduke, Lord Agars. Haoh, the fiancé of both Sana and Rias, while one of the strongest person alive and most unbelievable trait, a half-human and half-dragon. Everyone who were invited to watch gasped as they didn't know that a human can actually have a peerage. It was then that Ajilka explained his new system that he is testing, making it so that human can actually own a peerage. Shock and disbelief could be seen in everyone's faces. Many of the participants were also stunned. Azazel, as we have gathered here for an unofficial rating game, the formers have decided the type of game the 7 teams will perform. Azazel, it will be dice figure game. Azazel, a variant of the rating game with different mechanics. Instead of a long, full team battle, it will be a blitz short battle with limited members. Azazel, both kings will roll 6-sided dice, 1 each, and the number added up from both kings will determine the value of pieces servants to be sent. Azazel, however, kings are not forced to completely use all the points. With the total value of 8, kings can send 2 knights and have 2 leftovers, which will be wasted and not added to the next roll. Azazel, servants that consumed 2 or more pieces of their kind will have the added up value of the piece. A servant that has consumed 2 pawn pieces will have the value of 2, or a servant that has consumed 2 knight pieces will have the value of 6. Azazel, the value of each piece are as follows. Azazel, king equals ranges from 1 to 12 pawns depending on the estimated value given by the judging committee based on the strength of the king themselves, the value of their servants in comparison with the opponents. Azazel, queen equals 9 pawns / rook equals 5 pawns / knight equals 3 pawns / bishop equals 3 pawns / pawn equals 1 pawn. Azazel, now that this shit has come out of the way, it's time to draw lots and see which team will get a lucky winner to the next round of rating games. Azazel brought a transparent box out with 7 slips inside and all kings drew their numbers. Rias, 5. Sana, 3. Diodora, 6. Serayorg, 1. Zephyr, 2. Haoh, 4. Seekvera, 7. Azazel, as Serayorg and Zephyr have drawn the numbers 1 and 2, they are edible on thrown the dice. Azazel, the cutie Seekvera, however, is the luckiest. Seekvera looked at Azazel with narrowed eyes as if she was ready to kill him, while the person in question simply laughed it off. He called the 2 to his side and both threw their dice, getting a 6. Azazel, I'm not sure how much luck you need to do this, but both got a 6. Chapter 243, Chapter 243, The Rating Game. 2. Everyone watched as Serayorg Baal and Zephyr Glaciolabilas had a match in which Serayorg and his peerage easily overwhelmed Zephyr's peerage, retiring them all with the exception of Zephyr, who challenged Serayorg to a direct confrontation. As Zephyr tried attacking Serayorg with his demonic power, Serayorg was able to deflect all of his attacks as he began to counterattack, destroying all of Zephyr's defensive magic circles and landing a critical blow into Zephyr's stomach, defeating him. Due to experiencing a traumatic defeat at Serayorg's hands, Zephyr's soul was crushed with fear and he couldn't participate in the tournament anymore, dropping out. This directly made Serayorg pass to the next round, where Diodora and Rias threw the dice and both of them got a 7 and started their match. The formers were watching the match ongoing and Azazel noticed something. Meanwhile, Diodora Astaroth was able to defeat Rias in her peerage due to secretly being strengthened by Ophi's snake. Azazel, who recognized that, immediately told Surtsks, but it was too late. Rias immediately notices the irregularity of the match, as a group of devils start to emerge from magic circles. The devils who emerged from the magic circle are revealed to be the members of the Old Satan faction, with Diodora being in cahoots with them. Diodora proceeds to kidnap Asia and carries her away, while leaving the remaining devils to dispose of Asia's allies. This caused Rias in her peerage rage, as this was only a match, and though they lost, it wasn't that big of a deal. No, in fact, they felt that they were winning, and suddenly Diodora used underhanded methods. Issei, you bastard, give Asia back. Rias, Issei. After him. The game was interrupted due to the attack of the Chaos Brigade's Old Satan faction, who attacked the venue as Diodora revealed his alliance with the Chaos Brigade, leaving the Gremory peerage to be killed by the Old Satan devils. However, at that moment an old voice was heard and someone appeared in front of Rias members. Odin, why don't you old things have a taste of my old bones? Odin motioned to Rias to after Issei and leave everything here to him, and she did just that. The Gremory peerage then pursued Diodora, while Odin summoned his spear Gungnir. Odin easily defeats hundreds of his enemies. On the other side of the battlefield, Haoh simply watching this unfolding, while Sana and the others participants begin to defeat their enemies. Azazel explains that he deduced Diodora's newfound alliance, predicting they would use the raiding game to attack them, and decided to set a trap to defeat the army of the Old Satan faction. The Gremory group arrived at the temple where Diodora was holding Asia hostage. Diodora, ha 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 ha, you have arrived. Issei, you bastard, give Asia back. Rias, what is the meaning of this? Diodora, meaning? I won the game, therefore, I took my prize. Rias dangerously narrowed her eyes as her aura burst out, and it was much more than what she showed in their game. Rias, I never agreed to it, and you know it. Forcibly taking another member's peerage will result in that said person becoming weaker. Diodora, oh, I know. But my plan doesn't involve her being weaker. Rias, then what is your goal? Diodora chuckled and smiled with a crazy look on his face. Diodora, my plan entails for her to die. Suddenly the whole temple dropped in temperature as Rias was angry, and so was the others, but Diodora simply chuckled as he snapped his fingers and a few figures appeared ready to fight. Two people on the crowd, however, managed to rile up a member of Rias' peerage. Chapter 244, Chapter 244, Uato's Anger. Kaiba, you bastard, I finally found you. Valper, ho 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 ho, look at who is here. One of the failures. Kaiba, I swear I'm gonna kill you. Valper, are you sure? After all, you will be busy killing your friend. Kaiba's anger peaked as he could tell one of the people that appeared was truly familiar, and having this bastard confirm this now, his eyes became bloodshot. Kaiba, Tosca. Kaiba, it's me, Kaiba. What are you doing there? Tosca is a young woman who is around the same age as Uato, but has the appearance of a 12 or 13-year-old due to being trapped in a barrier that halted her aging. She also has white hair tied into braided twin tails with a hair clip on the right side of her bangs. However, no matter how much Kaiba called, she was unresponsive and looked at him blankly, which further fueled his anger. Kaiba, what have you done to her? Valper, nothing really, just hypnosis and some training enough to be able to kill you. Diodora, ha 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 ha, what a wonderful reunion. Diodora, now then, this will be a raiding game of death. As his voice fell, his nuns with blank looks charged ahead while Akeno licked her lips and Konako smashed her fists together. Gasper helped out here and there while Kaiba was busy trying to kill Valper, who was surrounded in a barrier. Valper, ha ha ha, like it? Valper, a barrier-type sacred gear, a sacred gear with the ability to create shields and barriers that could last for years. Valper, those within the barrier are left in suspended animation, preventing them from aging and don't require food or drink as sustenance to live. Valper, however, Tosca currently doesn't have full control of her sacred gear as she had trapped herself in a barrier for years, leaving her unaged since then. Kaiba, and you took advantage of that? Valper, yep. Kaiba, die. However, his sword strike fell into Tosca's body, which was reflected back, making Kaiba fly a few meters back and started stumbling across the floor. Issei on the other hand was trying to get past the broken nuns who seemed like dolls mostly and reach Asia, but was also blocked even though he was getting help by Akeno, Konako, and Gasper. Rias once again was facing Diodora, and this time she was bombarding him purely with destruction magic. Diodora, ha 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 ha, is that the best you could do? Rias Gremory. Diodora, unfortunately for you, we have come prepared. Lint. Rias suddenly felt a sense of danger and immediately backed off as a figure instantly appeared in front of her. It was a young woman with a mix of black and white hair and with red eyes. She bears a striking resemblance to Fried as she looks like the female equivalent of him. She wears the same church battle attire Zenobia and Irina Shadul wear. However, what sent alarms to Rias was what she was holding. It was a large double-edged sword that has vibrant colors despite being a demon sword. At that moment before the sword hit Rias, Gasper came forward and froze time while dragging Rias out of the way, thus effectively getting out unscathed. Rias, thanks, Gasper. Gasper, he, I helped Baku. After this sudden change, everyone gathered around Rias and even Yuato has calmed down and looked downcast that his Baku almost got him, and severely at that. Diodora, tisk. Even this was not enough to put her out of commission? Rias, if you don't give Asia back to us, this won't end well for you. Diodora, bah ha 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 ha, I already told Asia the whole story, and I intend to sink her further into depression by killing her friends in front of her and then raping her as she calls out Issei's name. Diodora, what else? Gwaha. Chapter 245, Chapter 245, Issei's anger. Diodora couldn't say anything else as Issei instantly came towards him while hitting him in his abdomen and made him fly backwards and crashed at the far end of the walls of the temple. Diodora, cough. Cough. He wanted to curse, but he notices an eerie silence from both sides, enemies and companions, as they looked at Issei walking towards Diodora. His face was hidden by his hair, making a shadow loom over his face, while on his back both his wings and devil tail had come out. However, what stunned them the most was that his tail and wings looked like they were glitching slightly. Issei, you bastard! You were planning on doing what? His voice raged as if a sound wave burst out along with his magic, making Valper and the rest hold their ears together. With all this noise they failed to hear a whistle in the background as Haoh was watching the drama. Haoh, that bastard Issei really has plot armor. Haoh, first, reflective magic based on jiggling boobs. Then a vibration ability that cancels magic based on massage. Haoh, then his shattering of space with vibration I taught him based on Whitebeard. Haoh, and now 2 more skills. Haoh, from what I could see, one makes his wings with vibration ignore various things such as physics and increased his speed appearing to be glitching. Haoh, and a vibration sound wave damaging and causing them to be stunned. Haoh, why is the plot armor strong with idiots that don't even fuck their girl? This would be his biggest question no matter how many times he sees the anime, manga, or novels, especially with someone so pussy-willed chicken. Issei vanished once again from his place as cracks in the air remained and appeared in front of Diodora, catching him off guard before he started punching him harshly. Issei, you bastard! Valper, seeing this, ordered Tosca to place a barrier around Diodora as she cancels his, and in that instance, Yuato burst forward and was almost inches away from reaping his life. Clang! Lint appeared in front of Kaiba and blocked his sword as she pushed him back and proceeded in a high-speed exchange. However, what none could foresee was that 2 figures started running and appeared either sides of the defenseless Valper and stabbed through his ribs. Valper, cough. Cough. Who? When everyone saw who the newcomers were, they recognized them as Zenobia and Irina, since they once belonged to the church they had asked Haoh to assist in getting rid of a traitor. As he was fatally wounded, suddenly his control over Lint and Tosca broke and both of them fell down unconsciously, allowed Issei to clobber Diodora once again. After he finished his part, he went and grabbed Asia before carrying her in a princess fashion towards Ras. Kaiba walked towards Valper, and as he reached closer his eyes became misty as he remembered all his dead friends, not knowing that around his body blue lights appeared that started whispering to him. Kaiba, I will be fine now, I managed to pay back the one who killed you for all his faults. Kaiba didn't even realize why he said that, and as he lifted his sword and brought it down on his head as it burst with black and white light, completely changing his sword. After realizing that Valper was dead, Kaiba snapped back to reality and looked at his sword as he recalled what happened while tears dripped down his eyes. Finally, relieved to be in the safety and company of her friends, Asia requests a chance to pray before they head finally home. However, as Asia prays that she be allowed to stay with Issei forever, she is encased in bright white light and suddenly disappears. Chapter 246, Chapter 246, Plot Armor. As the pillar of light surrounding Asia dissipates, Issei and his friends became shocked and confused over the sudden disappearance of Asia. Issei, Asia! Issei cried out his heart as he watched the final blinking lights vanish from where Asia was originally located. Ha 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 ha! That little girl finally kicked the bucket. As everyone was shocked, suddenly a portal appeared and a figure walked through. Rias, you are Diodora, Shilba. Shilba, look at your miserable self. Shilba, that Valper also died. Hey! As he looked around, he then raised his hand and pointed at Diodora, how scared shitless as he felt his magic power gathering. Diodora, what are you doing? Stop. Shilba, since he died, why not follow him to the gates of hell? Shilba had the appearance of a handsome man dressed in black armor with a cape. He had long brown hair that goes to his hips with many bangs covering his right eye. They are confronted by one of the masterminds behind the attacks and the individual responsible for Asia's disappearance, Shilba Beelzebub, a descendant of the original Satan Beelzebub. Before they watched him kill Diodora on the spot. Issei, you bastard, what did you do to Asia? Shilba, Oh, nothing much, I just sent her into the dimensional gap where Asia will be exposed to the nothingness of the dimensional gap and cease to exist. Shilba, and that means she is as good as dead. Rias, enraged and saddened over the loss of her precious servant, stepped forward as she attempts to fight Shilba until she and the others notice Issei wandering around mindlessly as he moves forward and his whole being is glitching. Haoh, who was watching, was shocked, as he remembered that in the original here was where Issei went berserk, but this time he didn't have his sacred gear. So how will he go berserk? However, at that moment, he frowned as he felt Azazel being comforted by someone and briefly looked towards his position only to see someone familiar. It was Cruzuri, who had the appearance of a good-looking man wearing the clothes of a noble. His clothes were black with dark red belts and motifs. Cruzuri also had a cape. He had black hair tied up in a small ponytail and violet eyes. Cruzuri also had pointy ears and pale skin. However, seeing Azazel coping just fine, he turned back to Issei as his whole body was distorted beyond glitching. It was then that he thought of something. Issei's magic is heavily influenced by his perverted feelings and love for his girls, though he had stolen all of them and left him with only Asia. Perhaps his feelings were solely focused on her, so losing that. Boom! Issei's figure burst with an enormous amount of magic that seems to enhance his build, making him taller, wilder, eviler, and his eyes surprisingly were glowing white. Issei, Asia! His voice resounded as the howls of an injured beast before the whole temple trembled and crackled all over from his magic vibrating like crazy. Not only that, but the space around him was slowly distorted even more. Rias, Akeno, Konako, Gasper, Uetto, Irina, Zenobia, and Haoh had their eyes wide open as they watched Issei raging with his howls. Seeing this, he smiled and snapped his fingers, making off eyes appear next to him and order her to bring Asia here from the dimensional gap, which she instantly vanished, and moments later she appeared with Asia being unconscious while She then stayed next to Haoh without asking to go back and looked at Issei while Haoh gave up on her thoughts. He can fuck the entire woman population and he would still not be able to see through Offai's thoughts. Chapter 247, Chapter 247, Plot Armor 2. Haoh watched as Issei directly charged Ichilba at such a speed that left a sonic boom behind, cracking the space, and punched Ichilba. He then proceeded in raising a barrier, but as the punch came forward it shattered it quite easily and hit him as he was blown away. Shilba, Gyuaha. Issei didn't let him scot-free and hunted him down as Slaba teleported himself away before firing some magic circles at Issei. Boom! Shilba, that was a lucky shot. And the only thing you will Gyuaha. Shilba watched the dust cloud caused by the explosion of his throwing his magic at Issei and spoke in disdain before he was suddenly punched once again and flew a few meters back. Rias and the rest were shocked as Issei could go toe-to-toe with him. And in many instances, Issei wasn't even having physical contact with Shilba as he was trashing around quite easily. Slowly and surely Shilba was losing and was becoming a bloody mess while Issei was getting more and more violent in his attacks. Not only that, but Shilba suddenly found out that Issei had dispersing vibration magic which makes his attacks useless against him, while he also has some reflective magic sending some of them back. He had never felt such humiliation in the past, and as he stood up watching Issei getting closer he howled as his magic burst upwards. Shilba, you insignificant little devil! A huge magic circle appeared in front of him as it kept charging, while Issei withdrew back his hand as he looked with narrowed deadly eyes at Shilba while his hand had become blurry from vibrating too much. Haoh, who saw this, thought, the power of FAP is strong with this one, as he could see his hand vibrating up and down at inhuman speeds. Shilba, die! Issei, Aarg. Both of them fires their own magic, but as the beam travelled to Issei it suddenly dispersed while Shilba spurted blood from his body and the whole area behind him collapsed, revealing the dimension gap. And Shilba fell through it with disbelief on his face and hate burning through them. Shilba, I'll be back. It was the last thing he said before the shattered space was restored back to normal while everyone looked at Issei. Issei, Aarg. Seeing that his target vanished, Issei growled before looking around and finally spotting Rias and the rest, scaring them in the process. However, before he could do anything, Haoh appeared and grabbed his head as he flared his magic and made his overgrown body smash on the ground heavily. Not only that, but his surrounding glitching effect also stopped. In shorts, he made the raging magic inside Issei to stay still, which in turn returned some clarity to Issei, and saw Haoh holding Asia on his back. Out of his crisis, Issei notices Asia was alive before his body reverted back to normal while his tail and wings vanished inside his body. Then he looked and apologizes to Rias for causing her trouble. Issei suddenly faints as Rias screams his name out. Haoh, don't worry, he simply fainted as he overdraft his magic and in the process lost some life force. Haoh, but as a devil, he has tons of it, therefore it's a small price to pay. Haoh, the issue now would be for him to train and master his new form. Rias, how? Konako, Bucko. If that form was created through his magic and life force, then maybe learning senjutsu can help him. Rias pondered over it and nodded while Haoh twitched as Issei's plot armor is strong, even without the sacred gear he is getting immensely stronger fast. Chapter 248, Chapter 248, Issei wakes up. Back at Gremory territory, Azazel is seen with a comatose Issei in his bedroom, wanting to discuss with them regarding Issei's condition. In the main hall, Sertskx discusses with Rias, Grafia, and Rias' servants on Issei's condition, who is still in a comatose state despite showing recovery. Blaming herself for Issei's condition, Asia is approached by Azazel, who tells her to test out the result of her training. In Issei's bedroom, Azazel explains that the transformation into an overgrown Issei has caused Issei's magic to malfunction, resulting in him unable to wake up. Azazel then tells Asia to use Twilight Healing because it might be able to help Issei recover from his current condition. However, he also warns them about the nature of Issei's vibration magic, that it might burst out and hurt Asia without him even realizing it. Being told of the potential danger that might incur to her, Asia decides to heal Issei with her sacred gear despite some minor opposition from her friends at first. The others then decide to leave the room to allow her to concentrate. Before leaving, Azazel leaves Asia with some advice regarding the difference between her training on healing in range and healing Issei from his comatose state, which required healing Issei's heart. While the others worry for both Asia and Issei, Asia begins her healing on Issei, releasing a tremendous amount of aura, successfully healing Issei's power. Thus he began to regain consciousness. Issei, where am I? Asia, ah. Issei, you are fine. Issei, Asia. It took him a few moments before Issei realized that Asia was alive and well, and finally everything that happened from the moment she vanished to the moment she saw her on Haoh's back came back to him. While everything between that was blurry through a fog. However, seeing the worried look on Asia's face, he threw everything aside in his thoughts and directly pulled her into his embrace. Asia, what? Asia blushed and struggled for a bit before she was hugged by Issei like a koala, not letting her get away, as if he did that he will lose her, which caused her face to become bright red. Soon, however, she hugged back and both of them stayed like that for minutes while the others outside were waiting for her to finish their treatment. While thanking Asia for healing him, Issei suddenly kissed Asia, which made her burn from the embarrassment and her eyes opened wide. In the main hall, Surtsks, Graphia, and Azazel discussed about the old Satan faction which has lost its leaders. Considering the potential threat they might bring to the world, Surtsks also reveals Ajoka's speculation on Loki's failed attempt of starting Ragnarok may have created a small fissure in their designated plans. Returning home to Haoh's residence, Issei apologizes to his friends for causing them trouble after finding out that he was comatose for 3 days. Going back to school the next day, Issei and Asia continue their training for the sports festival. As they prepare to take a break, Azazel calls out Issei to have a talk with him. A few days passed after his talk with Azazel, and Issei found himself in his house with Asia in his arms as they were lovey-dovey with each other. This was a harsh lesson he took, that anyone next to him can die at any moment in this world he embarked, and it would be best not to have regrets. Therefore here he was playing with Asia and getting in the mood, while she herself knew Issei's goal, but seeing him so flustered also made her smile and make her feel relaxed. New chapter is coming soon. Write a review.